Chapter 1322. In the distant world, a vast aura surged over, shaking heaven and earth as it filled the entire universe array. What kind of life form is this? Su Yan's heart trembled. Although he was still on the other side of the universe array, he had already caught the eruption of a supreme life form. Even wisps of air rushed out of the universe array and radiated across the entire bound of universe. What a terrifying aura! What kind of powerhouse is descending upon bound of universe? What is the progenitor domain summoning? Countless people felt their legs go soft as they trembled. They couldn't say a word as even their thoughts seemed to be suppressed. They're here. In the chaos ruins, an old figure stood on top of the primeval immortal mountain located in the chaos. Since the old village chief was born, he had been investigating the immortal mountains one by one to strengthen the seal. For the old village chief, the return of the universe's environment could very well lead to a disaster of darkness. Therefore, the old village chief had to be careful and make sure that all the immortal mountains could still suppress the darkness. But at this moment, the mighty immortal aura spread to the chaos ruins, suppressing all the orthodoxies and races. In an instant, the entire bound of universe seemed to have returned to silence. Everyone fell silent and found it difficult to breathe. No one could say a word. The old village chief's turbid eyes suddenly widened. His pupils were like two golden lamps burning, piercing through the seal of the human body and surging with ancient energy. At this moment, he seemed extremely powerful. His eyes reflected the scene of the progenitor domain turning into a giant array, and his expression was particularly ugly. Things had somewhat exceeded the old village chief's expectations. Although the master of Corpse Blood Sea and the others had a way to contact the outerverse. But how could it be so easy to cross between universes? Even if an undying powerhouse relied only on their physical body, it would take a long time to reach here, and they might not even succeed. Of course, even if the race is behind them, since the location of Bound of Universe, it wasn't that easy to confirm the exact coordinates of Bound of Universe. Or rather, with the help of some terrifying supreme treasure, one could cross between universes, but such supreme treasures were too rare. Because outside the universe was nothingness. In a sense, it was a void space that didn't exist. Nothingness, but in the eyes of some experts, nothingness was also real. However, the nothingness they saw was too vast and boundless. Even if a supreme expert exhausted their lifespan, they still wouldn't be able to find out what was hidden in a corner of nothingness. In the void, the laws were chaotic. Even the undying giants would find it hard to explore. They could easily die inside. The order was chaotic, and there was almost no concept of time. Undying giants who were trapped inside would quickly die of old age. However, the village chief did not expect that the Ancestral Hall Master had been planning this for a long time. He built the ancestral domain into a cosmic formation, sacrificing billions of lives at the critical moment to open the formation and guide the experts of their races to Xianwan. Buzz. The hatchet in the old village chief's hand emitted saber intent and gently hummed. It had also been asleep for too long. Now that it sensed the rage of its master, the firewood chopping knife suddenly blazed. Although it looked rusty, it flowed with a shocking sharpness that could cut down all the human immortals in the world. What kind of existence is that? The universe's environment has returned. Why are there so many ridiculous things happening? The Xianwang universe was filled with chaos and panic. Countless people were terrified and uneasy. They felt that the sky was falling and the end of the universe was coming. The surging immortal might of the outer universe was extremely difficult for people to bear. Even someone as powerful as Su Yin found it difficult to bear and breathe. What kind of expert was this? Was it beyond the immortal realm? Boom! At this time, Su Yin saw the other end of the cosmic formation. There was a slightly blurry palm at the end of the formation, releasing immortal might. The sparkling palm was covered in a layer of immortal radiance. It was very blazing, so dazzling that it hurt the eyes. The hand of immortal Tao seemed particularly small at first, but the moment the palm reached down, it really formed a terrifying scene. Along the way, it destroyed everything and covered the entire space-time. The hand of immortal Tao crossed the long river of the universe, following the space-time route guided by the giant formation to Xianwang. In the eyes of the people, the origin of this immortal Tao hand could not be found. It stretched out from nowhere, but it was too huge. It fell from the sky and suppressed the world. Su Yin was shocked. His body and mind were about to collapse. What kind of creature was this? It was looking down on the immortal realm powerhouse. It was too powerful, surging with supreme immortal might. It was as if a true immortal had descended to suppress Xianwang. They are here. They're the powerhouses behind the ancestral hall. Su Yin clenched his fists, but there was a kind of powerlessness in his heart. Could the Xianwang universe withstand it? Su Yin wanted to ask, "Big brother, where are you? The current Xianwang universe really needs your protection, or the universe will really be destroyed. If this kind of supreme creature really made a big move, who could stop him?" Boom! In an instant, Su Yan's palm grabbed the ankle of the ancestral hall master. "What are you doing? Ancestor, save me." The ancestral hall master was incomparably terrified. Su Yan, this lunatic, actually dared to make a move at this time. Did he not know what kind of existence had descended to the lower realm? Old thing, you deserve to die 10,000 times. Dying 10,000 times is not enough to pay for your sins. Su Yan's eyes were cold, full of killing intent. He must kill him. His entire arm shone, and endless strength erupted. The ancestral hall master frantically ran for his life, but Su Yan grabbed his ankle. No matter how he struggled, he could not shake off Su Yan's palm. Gee, a bloody scene was born. Su Yan's arm shook fiercely, and all of a sudden, the ancestral hall master's body was about to be torn apart. Ah! The ancestral hall master screamed like a pig being slaughtered. He was in so much pain that he was about to faint. His body was torn apart, and blood rolled down like a waterfall, dyeing the universe array red. At the same time, Su Yan also raised his other hand, wanting to grab the lower half of the ancestral hall master's body and bring it back to Xianwang universe. However, his action agitated the supreme powerhouse. Buzz! The sparkling giant palm shone, sprinkling down strands of immortal light, instantly shaking the entire universe array. Puff! Su Yan coughed out blood. The strands of immortal light contained a supreme sense of oppression, wanting to destroy Su Yan's body. This made him dare. He even felt that the universe array was about to cease to exist. Just how strong was this creature? It's too late. Su Yan let out a low roar. He could only give up the other half of the ancestral hall master's body. However, the torn body was tightly grasped by his palm, and it just so happened that the golden crow immortal medicine was also in it. Su Yan instantly retreated, wanting to leave the universe array. If he did not leave now, it would be too late. He could not waste a moment. However, the supreme powerhouse that came along the universe array from the lower realm was still too terrifying. The immortal pressure that fell from the palm seemed small, but the moment it pressed down, it was boundlessly terrifying. Boom! Su Yan was extremely decisive. He brought out the Fengtian diagram, rushing towards the immortal pressure that fell from the sky. However, just as the two collided, the Fengtian diagram, an immortal supreme treasure, was immediately riddled with holes. The terrifying power directly rushed towards Su Yan. Not good. Su Yan's scalp went numb. This creature was too ridiculous. An immortal supreme treasure was like paper, disintegrating in a single exchange. Just what kind of creature was he facing right now? It was simply unimaginable. Su Yan, if I can survive, I will not forgive you. I will torture you to death. The ancestral hall master was like a malicious spirit from hell, his face full of resentment. The remaining half of his body surged with boundless resentment, and the pain made his entire body tremble. This was because his broken body had already begun to disintegrate. The injuries he suffered were too severe. Even Su Yan had taken away the golden crow immortal medicine. That was his life-saving treasure. Now that it had fallen into Su Yan's hands, he no longer had any treasures that could heal his body. Su Yan, if I can survive, I will torture you to death. The ancestral hall master roared in pain. His body was forcibly torn apart, his injuries too severe. Large amounts of immortal matter were flowing out of his body, and his life was about to wither away. Su Yan couldn't attend to the ancestral hall master at all. He was currently facing an astonishing pressure, and his body was in danger of being destroyed. It was too painful and unbearable. Even the powerful, imperishable golden body was about to be destroyed. How could it be so strong? Just what level is this creature at? Perhaps it really has surpassed the immortal level. Su Yan was already old to begin with. The successive battles had exhausted his heart's blood. Now that he was facing the suppression of an unmatched giant, he almost couldn't hold on any longer. At the crucial moment, Su Yan took out the celestial emperor banner and wrapped it around his body. He didn't believe that this kind of giant could even tear apart the celestial emperor banner. Does the heavens want to destroy my universe? What kind of existence is that? Why is it targeting us? Why? Everyone cried out in grief. The hand of the immortal Tao passed through the heavens and earth, descending along the universe's giant formation, about to attack the Xianwang universe. Originally, they thought that the immortal-level giants were already outrageous enough. In the end, a creature even more tyrannical than the immortal-level giants jumped out. Now, who could withstand this world-destroying storm? Whoosh! Suddenly, a kind of power that could turn the universe upside down surged. It came too suddenly and too shocking. Fairy Zixia, who was in the Tao Palace, opened her eyes in an instant. She looked at the edge of the primal chaos ruins, and when she saw a plainly dressed old man, she almost cried. Damned old man! Fairy Zixia screamed, her jade-like hands clenched, her eyes red. Although her hair was white as snow and she had lived for 1,000,000 years, she still couldn't control her emotions. She was crying like a child. She originally thought that the old village chief had passed away, but now that she saw him reappear, she was especially emotional. She also wanted to curse him. If he was alive, then he was alive. Why didn't he tell her? Boom! The old village chief's expression was solemn. He brandished a wood chopper. This rusty wood chopper looked ordinary, but when it was awakened, it was like a guillotine that could cut through the heavens, peerlessly sharp. Boom! This blade cut through the long river of time. The blade light that came out tore a large space-time rift, and it directly penetrated the area where the cosmic array was located. The boundless blade light surged and blazed. It was hundreds of millions of feet long, and it directly chopped down on the cosmic array. Boom! In the end, the saber cut the cosmic formation in half. It was as if it had cut off time, split space-time, and divided the two worlds. Everyone was sluggish, not daring to believe their eyes. Even in the process, an extremely terrifying event occurred. The entire hand of the immortal Tao trembled. The cosmic array was destroyed, but it crossed through the void of space-time. It was eroded by the void. The meaning of the void was to melt all matter into nothingness. Almost in an extremely short period of time, his hand of the immortal Tao withered, and his life force withered. Vaguely, Su Yan heard a low roar from another world. The withered giant hand surged with the order of the immortal Tao. Strands of it were especially frightening. It was filled with the power to destroy 10,000 worlds, and it forcibly propped up the void world. His withered hand instantly blazed, and the lost blood energy was also full. It wanted to stretch out again and pierce through the two worlds. But no matter how powerful it was impossible for it to pierce through the Xianwang universe. The distance was too great. The old village chief's blade seemed to have split open the river of time. Boom! In the end, the giant hand trembled, unable to block the smelting of the void. It was blood red, and cracks appeared. The cracks were very thick, and blood sprinkled down. Boom! Bloodlight sprinkled down, destroying heaven and earth. The moment a terrifying aura spread, the the starry sky became a no man's land. Order and rules were chaotic, and it could easily kill a powerful expert. Chapter 1323. 1. The vast cosmos was refined into a no man's land. The world was dark red, resplendent blood radiance pervading the air. The laws within were chaotic, the aura releasing, as if it had turned into a life-forbidden zone. Even the life-ancient stars of distant worlds were affected, trembling intensely, the ground collapsing, the mountains and seas rumbling. The world suffered a calamity, spiritual essence dried up, unable to form a cultivation environment. What kind of creature is that exactly? Undying giants aren't that strong. Is there a creature more terrifying than undying giants? What kind of existence was it? Just a drop of blood, destroying the vast cosmos. Its influence too terrifying. Moreover, refining it into a universe, no man's land. The laws were chaotic, bitter aura, vast and mighty. Everyone found it hard to believe. Just what kind of expert was this? Just a drop of blood was enough to destroy this cosmos. Xianhuang Cosmos was filled with chaos and panic, because the blood-stained immortal Tao hand was still there, suppressing the cosmos, as if it could suppress at any time, destroy the entire starry sky. Actually, the immortal Tao hand seemed extremely close to Xianhuang world, but under the influence of the nothingness, it was as if it was separated by an endless river, an area that was almost impossible to touch. The nothingness was ultimately too terrifying. Suddenly, there was an extreme expert who could cross the nothingness, but this definitely wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. 1. The blood-stained immortal Tao hand trembled intensely, cracks appearing on every finger. The entire enormous hand was truly about to shatter. In the end, the immortal Tao hand's flesh melted, revealing white bones. His bones were extremely sturdy, containing supreme material energy, resisting the crushing power of the nothingness. It fiercely retreated backwards. If it didn't leave, its white-boned great hand would collapse. Gone, he's gone. Endless creatures roared, retreating like demons from hell, leaving Xianhuang Cosmos, seeing the light of day again. They really wanted the white-boned great hand to leave, never to descend upon Xianhuang, never to come again. But was reality really as they thought? The white-boned great hand retreated, but what retreated was the other end of the universe formation hacked open by the old village chief. The entire white-boned great hand also grabbed Ancestral Palace Hall Master's ruined body. Old Ancestor. Ancestral Palace Hall Master was crazy with excitement. He was still breathing. I'm still alive, ha ha. The remnant body of the Master of the Ancestral Hall was surging with weak life essence. He was extremely excited. There was definitely a bright future waiting for him in the future. After all, he had built the transmission formation. Although it was cut off, it had allowed the Xian people to confirm the coordinates of the mysterious yellow universe in the void. What is nothingness? It was hard to find someone who could explain it clearly. The void was like a huge world. In this void, there were many universes, big and small. It was very difficult to find these universes in the void. But if he found it, it would be a great opportunity. After all, these big and small universes might have given birth to some kind of rare fortune. The bound of universe was even more different. Now that he had confirmed the coordinates of the void, his tribe could seize the opportunity and seize the bound of universe's treasure. Of course, the biggest purpose was to figure out the secret of the evolution of the black-yellow universe. The bloody black-yellow universe calmed down for a short while. In this world, there were no more disasters, no more chaos, but what was left behind was purgatory. Countless people cried and howled. Even now, they still found it hard to accept this matter. The disaster had dispersed, but it brought them endless grief. Is the human sovereign still alive? More people looked at the uninhabited area of the universe. It was too vast and bloody. Until now, the blood spilled by the immortal Pat's hand was still affecting that world. People couldn't see the scene inside, and they could only pray that Su Yin was still alive. All of a sudden, Su Yin became the supreme god of war in the universe and was known as the human sovereign. However, everyone was worried. They stared at the broken universe array. If the array was reassembled, those terrible giants would definitely come to the bound of universe again. The future was still full of great fear for them. They really didn't want to see this day come again. After a long time, a low and painful voice sounded. On a broken star, a person wrapped in a war flag lifted the flag, revealing a tragic battle body. It hurts. I'm afraid the indestructible golden body is going to degenerate. Su Yin gritted his teeth and trembled. He struggled in a pool of blood. The process was really painful. Su Yan's soul was in so much pain that it was twisted. It was too painful. Suddenly, Su Yin caught the fluctuations of the universe dragon veins. This uninhabited region of the universe was being smelted along with the universe array that was being cut off. The ancestral realm was destroyed, full of holes and filled with the smell of blood. However, the chaotic dragon vein was still there. Su Yan's dry body glowed on its own, absorbing the energy of the chaotic dragon vein. After a long time, he recovered some strength. I'm still alive. Su Yan tried to turn over, panting heavily. His body was covered in blood and sweat, like a ferocious demon that crawled out of hell. His golden body was degenerating. When it was completely degenerated, Su Yin was in so much pain that he almost shed tears. His body seemed to have fallen apart and turned into a pile of mud. The pain was intertwined, and he was extremely weak. Su Yin felt that he was going to die. His body was dry, and there were wrinkles on his skin. This battle was too bitter. He tried his best to exhaust his lifespan. He let out a low roar. Su Yin tried to get up and stood in the uninhabited area of the universe. He looked at the sky, but his heart was very heavy. There was no joy of killing the enemy, no excitement of quelling the source of the universe's chaos. His dark eyes were deep, and he seemed very calm. Su Yin, I think you can really give up. The golden woman persuaded him again. You saw the powerhouse just now. He's not the only one behind them. The mysterious yellow universe is very important. Those people will soon make a big move. Once that day comes, if you still participate in it, you won't be able to live. Moreover, this is not something you should bear. This battle should have ended 1,000,000 years ago. What was the goal of the extraterrestrial enemies? Wasn't it the secret of the evolution of the mysterious yellow universe? They didn't get it 1,000,000 years ago. Now that the seal of the mysterious yellow universe had dissipated, they would certainly find ways to get it. Perhaps at the final juncture, they would tear down the entire mysterious yellow universe and even destroy the orthodoxy left by the celestial court. Su Yin would certainly bear the brunt of it. He was now the strongest powerhouse of the burial realm and the human sovereign of the mysterious yellow universe. You'd better pray that I die in the future. Su Yin sat down cross-legged and said lightly, You can also be free. The Golden Maiden was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Once Su Yin died, the seed would most likely fall into the hands of the Xian people. She also had some plans for Su Yin, but she really didn't want Su Yin, who had such potential, to die so young. However, the Golden Maiden also knew that it was meaningless to say anything more. Su Yin had seen through life and death. He had his own path, and no one could interfere with his Taoist heart. At this time, Su Yan's eyes fell on the remains of the ancestral hallmaster. He was only holding the golden crow immortal herb in his hand. This immortal herb was greatly damaged, and its spirituality was about to dissipate completely. It was about to become a dead object. However, within the golden crow celestial medicine, there was still a lot of celestial Tao substance. This was what Su Yin desired. If he did not have this small half of the celestial medicine, it would be a huge problem for him to recover from his injuries. Wang, Su Yan's spiritual force spread out and wrapped around the remains of the ancestral hallmaster. Soon, Su Yin found a space treasure. There were pitifully few resources in it. On the day the ancestral hallmaster came out of seclusion, all the resources available were used up, so the value wasn't great. Of course, the 36 Great Path immortal pearls were in this space treasure. This was the ultimate heritage treasure of the burial realm. However, what Su Yin really cared about was not the Great Path Immortal Pearls or the Golden Crow Immortal Herb, but something more important. However, after searching many times, he still found nothing. Su Yan's expression was uncertain. The Ancestral Hall Master had been eyeing him for more than 100 years. There should be something on him that caught the Ancestral Hall Master's attention. Then what was it? He guessed that it was the white mist. Now, the white mist was wrapped around his primordial spirit. Su Yin couldn't figure out what it was. Is it this thing or not? Su Yin murmured. He felt that this thing might have something to do with his background. Su Yin had attacked so crazily in the Great Universe Array because he wanted to kill the Ancestral Hall Master and shut him up forever. However, he had failed. Now that the Ancestral Hall Master was still alive, Su Yin could only hope that things weren't too bad. It's up to you now. At this moment, Su Yin picked up the Golden Crow Immortal Herb. Although there was less than half of its medicinal power left, it was a timely help to Su Yin. At the same time, Su Yin found the Ancestral Dragon Vein in the broken Ancestral Domain. The Ancestral Dragon Vein was damaged greatly, but the Ancestral Dragon Vein was still in good condition. Su Yin sat cross-legged on the Ancestral Dragon Vein and stuffed the entire Immortal Herb into his mouth. As Dali chewed, the Golden Crow Immortal Herb's medicinal power spread. Rolling golden juice began to flow into Su Yan's limbs and bones. It was like a dry desert had received amazing nourishment. With the Immortal Herb's healing, Su Yan's lost lifespan was replenished. After 10 days and 10 nights, Su Yan's injuries were healed. He stood at the peak, and even more immortal substances were produced in his body. He was much stronger than before. Su Yin had become exceptionally strong through the Immortal Herb's healing. However, it was still not enough, far from enough. His immortal path had just begun. Su Yin was puzzled. Could it be that a supreme treasure body, like the indestructible golden body, could only be activated in extreme battles? Su Yan's understanding of this kind of physique was too limited. Even the old village chief could not explain it clearly. He could only rely on himself to explore the mysteries of the treasure body. We can begin. More than half of the Golden Crow Immortal Herb's life essence was sealed in Su Yan's body. He could not waste the Golden Crow Immortal Herb in one go. Su Yan would also not hold back any methods to increase his strength. Wong. On this day, he opened the Immortal Herb's treasure that was stored in his body. His entire body was like an immortal furnace burning, blazing and rolling. This was an immortal herb that was hard to find. Even if this immortal herb was damaged greatly, it still contained a huge amount of immortal substances. Now, under the stimulation of the immortal herb's divine power, Su Yan's entire body was trembling. Every inch of his flesh, bones, and even his internal organs were starting to itch unbearably. I want to evolve. I want to become stronger. I want to live on. On the broken ancestral land, a figure sat cross-legged, emitting a blazing radiance that illuminated the heavens. An unprecedented belief, a desire to become stronger. Chapter 1324. The vast universe's no man's land belonged to the incomplete ancestral territory and was extremely difficult to explore. Xiaoho and the other almighty experts of the burial realm came to this universe's no man's land. They wanted to open a path and search for Su Yan's whereabouts. It had been half a month, but there was still no sign of Su Yan. Yiling Tian and the others were worried about Su Yan's injuries. Su Yan had exhausted all his energy in the battle with the Ancestral Hall Master. He had fought until he was old and had entered his later years. It was too bitter. Then, he was attacked by a terrifying hand. Su Yan's injuries were definitely severe, but this area had a shocking influence. The hand of immortal Tao spilled blood, making it difficult for them to go in. Damn it, we can't go in. I wonder how Su Yan is doing now. Yi Lingtian's eyes were red. He was really worried that something had happened to Su Yan. This universe's no man's land was too vast, and its influence was too far-reaching. They could not go in for the time being. I've lived for so long. Su Dalong was depressed. He let out a roar. In the end, I can't help it all. Useless. Old brother, don't say that. Xiao was also in a bad mood. Too many things had happened these days. The old leader had almost passed away. In the end, Su Yin turned the tide. He fought the 5 immortal-level almighties and quelled the disaster in Xianwang universe. Although Su Yin had won this battle, he had paid a heavy price. He had fought until he was old and had shed his last drop of blood. It was too bitter. They were very upset. They felt that this was not something that Su Yin should bear. They felt that they were useless. They could not break through to the immortal realm and could not comprehend the profound meaning of life transformation. Therefore, in this new era, Su Dalong felt that he was too useless and powerless. But the immortal realm was too difficult. Su Yin was blessed by heaven and earth. He had comprehended the universe's origin core in the Chaos Pagoda and cultivated to the peak of Almighty. Then, with the support of countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures, he was able to force his way through the immortality road. In the end, he had to fight with the sealing heavens Overlord to succeed. In the past, we protected Su Yin and sent him to the back progenitor, hoping that he would have a safe environment to grow up in. Yiling Tian clenched his fists. He was very strong. Now, Su Yin has grown up and can protect us. We should be happy. Yes, you should be happy. Su Dalong stood up. He felt that Su Yin had suffered too much. He had relied on himself to solve the biggest problem of the black-yellow universe. Because of this, their clans would be able to take revenge. This was what their ancestors all desired. Xiao and the others were silent as they looked at the Xianwang universe. The universe had really changed. It was getting stronger and stronger day by day. The Tao of heaven and earth began to be perfected. In fact, it was gradually becoming clearer and thicker. Originally, many universes that had been massacred by the giants also began to be replaced with boundless vitality, and the Dead Star domains began to heal. Heaven and earth ushered in a huge change. The energy of the origin nourished the black-yellow universe day by day, causing it to grow stronger. In the void of time and space, it began to emit the light of the great Tao, looking extremely sacred. The increasingly magnificent universe had a great impact on a person. In the depths of the universe's no man's land, a figure sat cross-legged. The Tao sound in his body was like a sea, and the light of immortality bloomed. He was refining the golden crow, immortal medicine. Every day, a part of Su Yan's immortal treasure rushed out of his body and revolved around his body. Su Yan's progress was too fast. With the help of the immortal medicine essence and the ancestral dragon bloodline's boundless divine power, cleansing his flesh shell. Therefore, Su Yan's cultivation process to enter the immortal realm would inevitably be greatly shortened. After all, this was an evolution. Su Yin was completing the evolution that he had not completed before. Another 10 days passed. His fate was especially strong, and his immortal energy was exuberant. His evolution is too fast. The Golden Maiden was shocked. She had been paying attention to Su Yin. After all, Su Yin relied on himself to dig out his potential and complete the evolution of the essence of life. For such a peerless genius, the world especially wanted to know what would happen to his evolution history. Now, Su Yan's flesh shell rushed out tens of thousands of layers of immortal light. Boom! The scene of tens of thousands of dragons emerging from the sea. One golden dragon after another revolved around Su Yin. It made him seem supreme, filled with terrifying, undying divine might. Especially the chi and blood in his body. The sound of a tsunami erupted. His chi and blood were too strong and majestic. Su Yan's combat power soared several times than before. In fact, his ascension was still ongoing and had not ended. The massive amount of immortal medicine essence accelerated Su Yan's evolution. However, at this time, his body trembled violently and resonated with the ancient black-yellow universe. Vaguely, Su Yin seemed to have disappeared. It was a blur and turned into a carrier of the universe's great Tao. Buzz! A mark flashed between Su Yan's eyebrows. This was a condensed universe mark, called the black-yellow mark. When the origin energy of the ancient universe was replaced, Su Yan's mark in the universe had a resonance. His aura was terrifying and astonishing. It was as if the master of the universe was sitting here, spitting out an astonishing amount of energy. All along, Su Yan found it difficult to operate the power of the black-yellow mark. Now, the black-yellow mark finally surged with a certain amount of divine power. It could easily control the energy of the vast universe to fight against powerful enemies. Without a doubt, Su Yan had a trump card. His combat power had skyrocketed. If he faced the Ancestral Hall Master, he might be able to suppress him with the power of the mark alone. Suddenly, Su Yan's spirit and will merge with the mark. At this moment, he seemed to have merged with the ancient universe. However, what appeared in his sea of consciousness was that the universe was a remnant body. It was very serious. Su Yan sighed in his heart. If the universe was complete, then he could control the energy of the entire black-yellow universe with the mark of the universe alone. Unfortunately, the remnant body of the universe was particularly serious. It was impossible for him to control the strongest power of the black-yellow universe. The universe, can it be repaired? Su Yan secretly said in his heart. He was full of expectations. Perhaps there was some hope. He didn't think too deeply and continued to refine the remaining golden crow immortal medicine. He wouldn't waste a single second. It could be said that an inch of time was worth an inch of gold. Any time was extremely precious to Su Yan. He had to pass through this evolution path. No matter how cruel the future was, he had to face it with his strongest state. Soon, many experts gathered at the edge of the universe's no man's land. A large number of powerful experts and apex experts came. The human emperor will be fine. They looked at the universe's no man's land, hoping to see the scene of Su Yan's return. The current universe needed Su Yan to oversee it. Only then could they feel at ease. Even the apex experts were full of expectations. The universe's calamity was related to everyone. No one could escape this calamity. The current universe needed an expert to oversee it. There were also people who were worried. Would the calamity continue? Although the universe array was broken, if they refine a new one, the calamity would definitely come again. It wouldn't even be for a short period of time. However, how much power could the top experts of the black-yellow universe increase in a short period of time? There were also people who thought that if they could figure out how to break through to the immortal realm, perhaps a group of immortal realm experts would be born in the black-yellow universe. Now, there were more than 10 apex experts gathered here. They had all tried, but unfortunately, without exception, they all ended in failure. It was said that the apex experts of the Nine Yang sect had exhausted all the resources of their race, but still failed. If even the apex sects had failed, did they still have hope? Or rather, there weren't many ways. In the current black-yellow universe, only Su Yan had stepped into the immortal realm. Therefore, they were eager to learn more about this realm. A powerhouse walked up to Xiaohou and the others and got straight to the point. Fellow Taoists, the universe is now in danger. All living beings are suffering and no one can escape. If you know the way, please don't hold back. My race will give you a divine herb. Someone stepped forward and took out a divine herb. He was sincere and wanted to exchange the way to break through. No matter how much it costs, as long as you teach me the way to break through, I will accept it. An old sect leader of a major sect stepped forward and was willing to pay any price. More than 10 apex experts were sincere and full of expectations. The day of desperation had come, and it would definitely continue in the future. If they didn't step into the immortal realm, they would be worse than pigs and dogs in this new era. They had enough. They had to break through no matter the cost. If we have a way, do you think the old leader of the Zong clan won't break through first? Xiaohou smiled bitterly. His response made everyone fall silent. With the old leader's strength, even he couldn't do it, let alone the others. Some people frowned and their faces were gloomy. They felt that they didn't want to hand over the method. After all, no matter how many resources they had, they couldn't be compared to the immortal realm experts. The universe calamity is over. Now, Su Yan is the only immortal realm expert in the universe. A young man suddenly stepped forward and said bravely, "In the ancient era, the Zong clan was the overlord of the universe. You must have collected a lot of scriptures and books. Most of them recorded the way to break through to the immortal realm. Now, Su Yin is the only immortal realm expert. It seems that in the future, Su Yin will be the only master of the universe. Congratulations to your clan for becoming the overlord of the universe again. What do you mean? A group of experts from the Zong clan had ugly expressions. They were really angry. What did he mean? This sentence also made some of the almighty experts' faces change. Would the Zong clan rule the universe in the future? Everyone knew how terrifying an immortal realm expert was. Once Su Yin had such an idea, who could resist? Shut up. What nonsense are you talking about? An apex expert's face darkened. He raised his hand and suppressed the young divine king who had stepped forward. This was a junior of his clan. Why don't you let me speak? I'm just stating a fact. The young divine king frowned and said, Su Xianren clearly has a way to break through. If your clan didn't tell him, how could he know? I think you just don't want to spread it. If you spread it earlier, the universe wouldn't have suffered such losses and humiliation. You're courting death. Su Dalong couldn't take it anymore. His aura leaked out. He wanted to destroy this divine king. Dao friend, please show mercy. It's my fault for not teaching him well. The apex expert of the Zong clan hurriedly stepped forward and smiled apologetically. He's just a child. Dao friend, please don't lower yourself to his level. He's making things difficult at this juncture. I think he's smarter than anyone else. Suddenly, a cold laugh came from a distant world. A group of almighty experts with powerful auras rushed over. The leader, Kong Xian, was furious. The aura he emitted shook the young divine king until he coughed up blood and fell to the ground. His expression was terrified. He was just a divine king. How could he withstand the anger of an apex expert? Kong Xian, what are you doing? The apex expert of the Zong clan had a gloomy expression. He raised his hand and suppressed the young divine king who had almost died, isolating Kong Xian's aura. You heartless thing, Kong Xian cursed. If it wasn't for Su Yin, would you still be alive? Would you even be standing here and talking? If Su Yin heard this, his heart would turn cold. Who did he fight to the death for? Was it only for the clan? If that was the case, he might as well leave with the clan and not care about your lives. Yes, Su Yin saved the world and was conferred the title of Human Emperor. I naturally respect him and take Su Yin as my role model. The young godly king was very courageous. He was once a young overlord, and his name was Li Weiyao. Relying on the absolute almighty behind him, he retorted, but who can guarantee that the calamity won't come again? If Su Yin passes down the method of breaking through, the universe will have at least dozens of undying giants. In the future, they will be able to deal with the threats from the outside world. Now, this matter concerns everyone. If the human emperor is concerned about the safety of the world, he should make it public. Chapter 1325. Many of the mighty figures who were watching felt their hearts tremble. What he said seemed to make some sense. Why was Su Yin able to break through? There must be a way. If they knew the way to break through the immortality road, perhaps all the mighty figures present would have a chance to do so. The clan behind Li Weiyao was also impressive. This clan had an ancient heritage, and the family had the foundation of a mighty figure. However, they knew nothing about the immortality road. Now, they urgently wanted to obtain the secret technique of this area. You heartless thing, my clan Su Yin will fight until he's old. He'll bleed to the last drop of his blood. Xiahou was furious. Holding a spear, he charged forward and said angrily, It's fine if you don't say a word of thanks, but you still have the cheek to criticize me. Who gave you the guts? Yiling Tian and the others also looked cold. If it wasn't for a mighty figure, would a divine king have the guts to speak here? He even criticized Su Yin. They felt bitterly disappointed for Su Yin. Brother Xiahou, don't be rash. There's no need to lower yourself to the same level as a child. The Li family patriarch's expression changed. His aura leaked out faintly. It had to be said that he was very powerful. His aura suppressed Xiahou. After all, he was a mighty figure, while Xiahou and the others hadn't cultivated to this level. What? You want to attack me? Xiao laughed angrily. He's just a child. Without your instructions, he wouldn't dare to speak here. I'm just stating a fact. Li Weiyao looked very calm. Seniors, please don't misunderstand me. I'm also concerned about the safety of the universe. I don't mean anything else. After all, the calamity will continue. Isn't it good to have more powerful figures in the universe? You're right. The calamity will continue. Kong Xian stepped forward and sneered. As for the method of breaking through, it's a secret technique. I'll tell you on behalf of Su Yan. The expressions of the powerful figures changed. They all pricked up their ears, wanting to know how Su Yan broke through. Perhaps they also had a chance to cultivate to this level. We can also tell you how Su Xianren broke through. Do you really think it's that easy for him to become the Renhuang? You bastard. It's fine if you disrespect the human emperor, but how dare you slander the human emperor? I really want to cut you into pieces. In the distant world, another group of experts rushed over. Their killing intent was heavy, and their emotions were especially stirred up. Most of them originated from the primal chaos ruins, and they were feeling indignant for Su Yan. He had saved everyone in the world. But now, there were people who stood out to slander him. They even demanded that Su Yan hand over the secret to breaking through to the sempiternal realm and not keep it for himself. This made them furious. Yes, if they could figure out the way to break through, they could enhance the top strength of the black-yellow universe. However, they had to have the ability to break through. All of you. Li Weiyao's expression fluctuated. He didn't think that his words would incite public anger. The current Su Yan's rallying power was truly frightening. An old man with a bad temper pointed at Li Weiyao's nose and scolded, "Let the strong warriors of your race go out and fight with the Undying Realm warriors. Force out their potential, and they'll be able to break through to the Undying Realm." What? This sentence caused a huge commotion. The absolute mighty present were all shocked. Breaking through using this method? How is that possible? However, Su Yan had indeed broken through using this method. Back then, when he fought with Sealed Sky's Overlord, Su Yan was almost beaten to death. In the end, at the critical moment, he relied on himself to blast open the door of life, transformation, and step into the Undying Realm. The world could say that they had witnessed that battle with their own eyes. There were even people who directly intercepted a segment of memory and released it for the world to see. It was the process of Su Yan fighting with Sealed Sky's Overlord back then. Fighting with an Undying Realm warrior, Su Yan forced out his potential in a desperate situation and finally stepped into the Undying Realm. The absolute mighty present fell silent. This was too cruel. Who could do it? Who could do it? What else do you have to say? Someone glared at Li Weiyao and said, "Your race definitely didn't suffer persecution, but we did. Almost all of my people are dead. If it wasn't for Su Xianren, I would have died too. As for you, would you still be standing here? If it wasn't for the human emperor who stood up and fought with his life, all of you would have died. None of you would have survived. You still have the face to blame the human emperor? I think you've eaten the guts of a dog." Many old people lost control of their emotions. Too much blood had been shed in those days. Their hearts were only filled with hatred. Of course, there was also respect for Su Yan. Plop! The young divine king couldn't take it and fell to the ground. He said in a trembling voice, The sky was filled with killing intent. He couldn't say a word. The absolute mighty behind him felt guilty. He was the one who ordered this. He wanted to know the method of breaking through too much. In fact, he didn't have any evil intentions. After all, Su Yan had sacrificed too much. The result made him despair. Who could fight with an Undying Realm warrior among the absolute mighty? Although the universe's environment was changing and the absolute mighty had some room to grow, who could do what Su Xianren did and fight with an Undying Realm warrior? There's more. Kong Xian's expression was cold as he took out a bone book and presented it to the Almighty's present. He said, "Take a look for yourself." Su Yan relied on the information recorded in the bone book to attempt the cruel path of transformation in the primal chaos pagoda. Without exception, all of his attempts failed. In the end, he relied on his own strength to fight against the sealed heavens Overlord to break through to the immortal realm. The content of the bone book was made public. The group of absolute mighty trembled. We would do it on 3 paths. What else do you have to say? Su Dalong stared coldly at the Li family's patriarch. The Li family's patriarch sighed and lowered his head. He said guiltily, I've let the human emperor down. I was too eager for this path and thought too much. Fellow Taoists, please calm down. The people who were glaring at them snorted coldly. They couldn't calm down. Unfilial son. The Li family's patriarch raised his palm and crippled 2 of Li Weiwei's arms. He said, You should be punished for disrespecting the human emperor. I'm no exception. Li Weiyao roared in pain and almost fainted. The Zi family's patriarch also crippled one of his arms. He said bitterly, Fellow Taoists, everything happened in a hurry. Please don't blame me. Sighs could be heard from the crowd, and the powerful experts all fell silent. There was no other way. Let's gather all the absolute mighty experts here. Then I'll also say something. Who dares to come with me to destroy the dark nether race? An expert stood out and said coldly, The Lord of the Corpse Blood Sea is dead, but the dark nether race deserves to die. I don't care if they're pawns. Their race shouldn't exist in the Xianhuang universe. This absolute mighty expert hated the giants who had brought chaos to the world. His race was almost wiped out, and he had nowhere to vent his anger. The dark nether race. The experts gathered in this area all exuded bone-chilling, killing intent. The sealed skies domain and the ancestral hall were destroyed, but the dark nether race was still there. The Lord of the Corpse Blood Sea had died too miserably, so the dark nether race was fine. Otherwise, their fate would be similar to the ancestral halls. Although they were pawns, how could the absolute mighty experts who lived in hatred let the dark nether race go? When the horn of war sounded, it resounded throughout the entire Xianhuang universe. This was the surging killing intent that reverberated throughout the universe. Overnight, countless experts were alarmed. Countless people went to participate in the war, wanting to tear the dark nether race apart. No matter who they were related to the executioners who had brought chaos to the world. It was destined that they would not be kind. When the war broke out, too many people vented their hatred. The flames intertwined with blood burned for 3 days and 3 nights before subsiding. Billions of territories were dyed red with blood. The dark nether race was declared destroyed. The ancestral hall, the dark nether race, and the sealed skies domain have all been destroyed. Big news. The Tao Temple provided the lair of the Valley of Chaos. In one night, over 100 absolute mighty experts attacked the Valley of Chaos and destroyed it. The universe was shaken one after another. The 4 major clans, all related to the giants who had brought chaos to the world, were destroyed one after another. Time flew. After a month, the Xianhuang universe, which had experienced the flames of war, had dispersed a lot of the smell of blood. The world environment was developing towards a seemingly beautiful era. The essence of heaven and earth was recovering, and the origin energy was awakened. The path of cultivation for absolute mighty experts was broader, but the world discovered that it was more difficult to step onto the path of absolute mighty experts. The older generation was almost in despair. They pinned their hopes on the younger generation, hoping that a peerless genius like Su Yin would emerge. However, they relied on themselves to break through. On this day, in the no-man's land of the universe, magnificent, immortal divine energy rose and rolled, about to burst the entire no-man's land of the universe. Su Yan's eyes opened. His entire body was overflowing with a terrifying aura, causing the void to tremble. He was somewhat calm, so he came out of seclusion early. Otherwise, Su Yin would probably have to stay in seclusion for a few years to excavate all of his immortal potential. It's coming. How impatient. Su Yin stood up and breathed heavily. He had a feeling in his heart that something terrible had happened in the void outside the star domain. The reason why Su Yin felt it was because the Xianhuang universe was locked by a strange energy. Su Yin, who was in control of the Xianhuang mark, also felt that a behemoth was beginning to approach the Xianhuang universe. The void seemed small, but it was actually very big. Everything in the void seemed to be at a standstill, or perhaps time did not exist. Perhaps a mighty expert would wither and die in an instant if he fell into the void. Of course, there were exceptions to everything. In the void near the Xianhuang universe, there was a broken array. When the array was broken, a huge ship floated out. It forcibly suppressed the void, causing it to split apart and form a tunnel. The tunnel was very small, but if one really opened the heavenly eye to look, it was as wide as a path to the sky. The huge ship was crossing the void, and it began to cross towards the target it had locked on. They're coming. In the Zhang family village, the old village chief was wiping his wood-chopping knife. He didn't want to see this day, but when it finally arrived, he was excited. He stood up and stroked the rusty wood-chopping knife, saying, "My old brother, we've been asleep for too long. We can fight now." Hum! The wood-chopping knife roared on its own, faintly blazing. It was responding to the old village chief. It seemed that whether it was the old village chief or the wood-chopping knife, they were both waiting for this day. When their long hibernation ended, they could finally fight to their heart's content. Ha ha ha! The old village chief laughed. He had received a response. Good. Then let us fight to our heart's content. The old existence was no longer calm. His mood was high. He strode out of the Zhang family village and into the starry skies, ready to meet the enemy. Chapter 1326. They're here. In the universe's no man's land, Su Yin clenched his fists without saying a word. The Golden Maiden didn't try to dissuade him anymore. Su Yan's attitude was firm, and no one could stop him. Su Yin strode out of the universe's no man's land and arrived in the outside world. He gazed at the sky and stood there calmly. Here, however, experts from various races had gathered. Many cultivators had come to pay homage to Su Yin in the universe's no man's land. Not for anything else, but Su Yin had saved the people of Xianhuang and was worthy of worship. But when his real body suddenly appeared here, it gave everyone a big fright. The human emperor! Someone shouted excitedly. Look, the human emperor has come out. He's fine and still so young. He's not aging anymore. It's really the human emperor. He's fine. The whole place was in an uproar. The experts lost control of their emotions and shouted, "Greetings to the human emperor! Greetings to the human emperor!" A large number of experts prostrated themselves in worship. Their momentum shook the world as if they could topple mountains and overturn seas. The name of the human emperor was in everyone's favor. Su Yin had paid too much in the battle a few months ago. He was about to die in battle and shed his last drop of blood. In the end, he quelled the turmoil and killed a series of undying giants who had caused trouble. The people of the world revered him. Who didn't know that Su Xianren had defied the heavens and broken through during the battle with Sky Sealing Overlord? He had proven his Tao through killing and stepped into the ranks of undying giants. Now, they were very happy to see the human emperor safe and sound. A large number of experts went to pay their respects and express their respect for him. However, this group soon realized that something was wrong. Su Yan's expression was solemn, and he didn't say a word. He stood in the starry sky and gazed at the sky. His eyes blazed with golden splendor as he looked through the universe and spied on the outside world. They're here. Su Yan clenched his fists. His words fell like thunder, shaking many people until their chi and blood surged. Their eyes darkened, and even their souls were throbbing. This made them tremble. The human emperor was now too powerful. He was worthy of being the universe's #1 young expert, looking down on the past, present, and future. No one knew what heights he had reached. What's here? Everyone was confused, not knowing what Su Yin was talking about. However, there were some powerful experts who were trembling in fear. When they saw Su Yan's serious expression and thought about what he had just said, they were all paralyzed on the ground. Without a doubt, the calamity had arrived and was continuing once again. Perhaps it would be even more frightening than the last time. In the past, the hand of the immortal Tao was about to suppress the black-yellow universe. No one would ever forget that. If a powerhouse of that level had evil intentions and killed his way into the black-yellow universe, what hope would there be for all living beings in the universe? How can it be so fast? The powerful experts were all in despair. If they really had evil intentions, who could stop them? Could the dark yellow universe withstand the invasion of those supreme giants? What would be the fate of the universe? Suyan's solemn expression caused the countless creatures here to be terrified. Was the end of the universe coming? Would the universe still exist? Would everyone be buried with him? In an extremely short period of time, all the almighties in the universe sensed it. The sky is changing. For a moment, the entire black-yellow universe trembled violently. All the top experts were horrified. They felt that there was a colossus in outer space that was closing in on black-yellow universe. It was moving so fast that it was about to crush the entire black-yellow universe. Suddenly, they were mentally prepared, but they did not expect the disaster to come so soon. Boom! A loud explosion shook the heavens and the earth. It swept through the entire black-yellow universe and shocked everyone in the world. Countless people's scalps went numb. This was a shocking change, and it was hard to predict what would happen next. It's really fast. Suyan had difficulty breathing. He clenched his fists, and blue veins popped out all over his body. It was really beyond his expectations. A giant golden ship, separated by a very long time and space, began to cross the black-yellow universe. This giant golden ship was too magnificent. It seemed to be more magnificent and huge than the entire black-yellow universe. It was like a war behemoth that was about to crash the entire universe. Who dared to believe their eyes? A corner of the warship was as vast as a star field. It could easily crush the 9 heavens. A gigantic golden warship traversed through the void, carving out a path of nothingness along the way. Oh my God, a ship is coming, and it's so huge. I can't even see the whole picture. What level of warship is this? The civilization of the extraterrestrial universe came to the black-yellow universe. Do they have good intentions or bad intentions? Some people still had delusions and thought that it would not be so bad. However, 99% of the experts were already mentally prepared. Since this group of experts who came to the black-yellow universe had something to do with the Ancestral Hall Master, they must have come with bad intentions. At this moment, many people really felt that the top clans and ancient families were vulnerable in front of this giant ship. They were too weak and uncertain. Once this giant ship came, they would suspect that the mysterious yellow universe would collapse along with it. Boom! The ancient golden ship followed a path and crossed the black-yellow universe. During the process, there was a terrible impact of void energy, causing the golden ship to tremble slightly. The ship's hull was huge, but in the void space, it was as small as a grain of sand in the sea. The warship was shining, blazing, and immortal light radiated in all directions. The huge ship's hull was densely covered with mysterious golden immortal patterns. It was difficult to count how many there were. When these immortal patterns intertwined and combined, they formed a peerless killing formation that isolated the erosion of the void. In this way, it was getting closer and closer to the black-yellow universe. A ship is coming from the extraterrestrial universe. Just how many experts are there on this ship? Is it enough to store thousands of soldiers and horses? What are they doing here? What are they after? Who can tell me? All the living beings in the entire mysterious yellow universe were frightened. Who knew how many powerhouses were in the giant ship? It was filled with an ancient aura, opening up a path in the void. As it approached the mysterious yellow universe, the entire space-time was about to collapse. Destruction. There is only one word in the hearts of all living beings: destruction. Once the giant ship broke through the black-yellow universe, everything would begin to be destroyed. Stop! Don't destroy this universe. An ancient voice was transmitted from the giant ship. The voice was bitter and incomprehensible, but it sounded relatively calm. However, this ancient language contained an amazing influence that spread throughout the vast universe. It also contained the will of the great Tao, making it easy for people to understand. Once the giant ship pressed down, the universe would have a big problem. Perhaps it would not be able to withstand the crushing of this behemoth. All living beings are like ants. In the black-yellow universe, a supreme expert said in a daze, it's like passing by an ant hole. In our eyes, the experts of our universe are very strong, but in their eyes, it's just an insignificant ant hole. The cruel reality made him feel as if a knife was being twisted in his heart. He could not wait to look up to the sky and roar. Since they are so weak, why are they targeting us? The secret of a universe's evolution is likely to be hidden in the universe. We have to study the entire universe to make a conclusion. The celestial court has collapsed, leaving behind a very weak universe. But after all, it used to be the celestial domain. It has great value in itself. Yes, if the black-yellow universe is refined into a supreme treasure, it might be extraordinarily amazing. In the giant ship, ancient wills were communicating. They had a great ambition, but they might not be able to get it. But no matter what, they had to get something. Otherwise, their million-year wait would be in vain. Let's not talk about it anymore to avoid new problems. If the powerful cultivators catch the changes in the black-yellow universe, some accidents will inevitably happen. This is a matter of great importance. Since the Cien people have the initiative, no accidents can happen. In the giant ship, an old voice said decisively, the black-yellow universe is severely damaged now, and it hasn't recovered much of its vitality. We can suppress the universe and move it away. I think we should take it back and study it carefully. Suddenly, a giant hand stretched out from the giant ship. In an instant, it was boundlessly terrifying and covered the entire black-yellow universe. The universe trembled violently, and countless people's bodies and minds were about to collapse. No, the top experts of the universe were terrified. This was too cruel. They wanted to suppress the black-yellow universe and take it away. Who would dare to imagine it? Who could resist it? Boom! Golden light surged from the giant golden hand, blazing endlessly. The supreme immortal might surged. It was too domineering and contained incomparable divine might. Boom! The entire black-yellow universe was shaking violently. The outer space was destroyed, and countless creatures were about to be wiped out. To them, the creatures in the universe were as weak as ants. They weren't even worth looking at. What did the life and death of the black-yellow universe have to do with them? It was just killing a group of ants. And what they wanted was the secret of the black-yellow universe's evolution. Why are you targeting us? Countless people roared. Was this their fate? They couldn't bear it, and their minds were about to break. Who could help them? Who could resist it? When this hand came and explained what was invincible and what was strong, all living beings were in despair. They couldn't see any glory or hope. Everyone was the same, no matter how strong or weak they were. In the eyes of these supreme giants, they were all the same. What was a mighty figure? The universe was so small in front of them that they could suppress it directly. Ah! Su Yin roared into the sky. His black hair danced in the wind. He wanted to stop it, but he was powerless. He used to be very weak, but now he was very strong. However, he wasn't strong enough. There was always someone better than him. Some things were too cruel. Instead of knowing that there were more terrifying existences, it was better not to know. After all, if he knew, he could only despair and howl. If this wasn't purgatory on earth, what was it? All of a sudden, the trembling universe of Xianhuang came to a standstill. In an instant, all the living beings in the universe saw a tall figure standing above the black-yellow universe. A pair of big feet suppressed the black-yellow universe. His figure was exceptionally tall, and his messy hair was draped over his shoulders. He was full of killing intent. He stood above the black-yellow universe, guarding the border. A pair of pitch-black eyes opened. They seemed a little empty, but in fact they contained a shocking sharpness that was about to tear the void and space apart. Boom! The golden hand was blazing, suppressing the sun and moon. Heaven and earth were destroyed as it suppressed the tall man. Let him live. He might be a remnant of the ancient celestial court. A voice came from the golden ship. He felt that the prehistoric Big Brother was extraordinary and wanted to suppress this strange man and take him away. Chapter 1327. The prehistoric Big Brother was majestic and domineering. His pair of big feet suppressed dark yellow. He protected billions of creatures, protected the lineage of dark yellow, and withstood the apocalyptic storm. His back was tall and magnificent. He faced the starry sky alone and even the powerhouses on the ship alone. Suddenly, the golden hand was blazing and rolling, suppressing the stars in the sky and enriching the power to destroy the universe. However, in the eyes of the people of Dark Yellow, the Big Brother's momentum was unattainable and majestic. This darkness was supported by him, and the whole universe was in an uproar. Is he the protector of our Dark Yellow universe? Many people knelt down and bowed to the prehistoric Big Brother. They roared, "He must be the protector of our universe. He must be." At this juncture, how could he not be worthy of worship for saving the Dark Yellow universe? Suppress. A cold and angry voice exploded. The golden hand suddenly stretched out, covering the sky and the sun. It was steaming with immortal brilliance and surging with vigorous vitality. The mighty power of the immortal path shook the 8 desolates and 10 lands. The person who made the move did not even show his face. He directly stretched out one hand to suppress the tall man. His actions seemed to have infuriated the heavens. Deafening thunderclaps resounded throughout the heavens and the earth, and it spread throughout the entire space-time. Boom! The Big Brother had recovered. His back was like the sky, and he was extremely majestic. His whole body surged with a terrible sense of oppression, as if a primordial monster had appeared and wanted to tear the whole world apart. Boom! He instantly stretched out a big hand and blasted at the golden hand that wanted to suppress the Dark Yellow universe. It's Big Brother. Suyin lost control of his emotions. The prehistoric Big Brother finally stood up and made a strong move to stop the powerhouses descending to Dark Yellow universe. The help of the prehistoric Big Brother was indispensable for Su Yan's growth. Now that he had appeared again, Su Yan laughed. He really wanted to see the scene of the prehistoric Big Brother blowing up everyone. He wanted to let the people in the outer realm know that the Dark Yellow universe was not to be trifled with. Until today, Su Yan had not forgotten about the reincarnation fruits. Of the 6 reincarnation fruits, Su Yan didn't dare to eat a single one. He had kept them all this time, thinking that they might be of some help to his big brother. Although the reincarnation fruits weren't complete and were incomplete reincarnation medicines, there was no need to mention their value. They were absolutely rare treasures in the world. So it's him. It's a pity that there's a big problem with his body. It's very difficult for him to unleash his full power. I don't know if his appearance is a good thing or a bad thing. If someone finds out about his identity, it will be terrible. Something big will happen. The expression of the old village chief who was about to make a move changed. He carried a rusty woodcutter on his back and strolled through the universe like a Tao protector of the universe, guarding heaven and earth. The old village chief looked at the prehistoric Big Brother. He knew his big brother's identity, but there was a big problem with his body. He couldn't display the strength of his peak. Bang! Prehistoric Big Brother's outstretched hand didn't look big, but when it collided with the golden hand, it instantly caused the golden hand to tremble violently. Many cracks appeared on the giant palm in an instant. Blood sprinkled down and dyed the outer space red. Everyone in the world was stunned. The powerful extraterrestrial experts wanted to suppress the entire Xianhuang universe. But now, an expert from the Xianhuang lineage stood out and injured the golden hand with a single slap. Blood poured down like a waterfall. Bastard! A ferocious roar came from the giant ship. Who are you? How dare you interfere with my clan's matters and even injure me? Do you want to exterminate your clan? Chi-Chi, prehistoric Big Brother's eyes shot out a cold light. This was because his killing intent was too surging. For a moment, his aura was too terrifying. It caused the world to explode and the void to tremble. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the blood-stained giant palm. He didn't need to use his aura at all. His hair stood on end as his entire body surged with a powerful aura accompanied by cold, killing intent. He wanted to slaughter all gods and devils in the world. Boom! Prehistoric Big Brother grabbed his wrist and pulled him out of the giant ship. The cabin door exploded. Dong! Prehistoric Big Brother threw a punch forward. His aura devoured the river of time. It felt like a huge explosion was taking place in the rift. Asshole! The old man in a golden robe yelled furiously. It was a great humiliation. He could tell what Big Brother was trying to do. Did he think he was a pushover? That he could kill him at will? The old man in a golden robe unleashed his power. His body unleashed an immortal aura, as if a true immortal had descended upon the heaven and earth universe. His roar shook the entire starry sky. He opened his mouth and spat out a stream of golden blood that contained the heavens of the universe. It suppressed prehistoric Big Brother. Roar! Prehistoric Big Brother let out a long roar into the sky. His roar shattered the golden blood that filled the sky. His roar shattered the void. Even the vast starry sky was trembling. He was no longer ordinary. A peerless ruler had returned. His strength was peerless and intimidating. Who exactly are you? The expression of the cultivator in the golden robe changed, and he put away his contempt. This man was extremely powerful. How could there be such a character in the Xianhuang universe? Could it be that he was related to the ancient celestial court? Was this lineage not completely wiped out yet? Thought. Prehistoric Big Brother's aura was wild and imperious. He threw a terrifying punch forward without uttering a single word. The old man in a golden robe felt his scalp turning numb. He could sense that the punch was unstoppable. He would die upon contact. However, he tried to rely on some kind of artifact or some other moves to defend himself. Yet his big brother was just too fast. The punch had completely disregarded the rules of time. It arrived in the blink of an eye and landed firmly on his body. Impossible. The old man in a golden robe fell into despair. How could this be? Even if he had the chance to retaliate, his flesh had already been suppressed. He could not even move. What kind of man was he? Puff! The punch penetrated the old man's flesh. Blood and broken bones splattered across the ground. Ah! He cried out in agony. His soul was almost evaporated. The punch was too imperious. It had crippled him with a single punch. He was in great pain. Prehistoric Big Brother's hair fluttered in the wind. His pupils were like heavenly blades, and his back was as wide as the heavens. He was absolutely terrifying. One punch had stunned all the powerhouses in the world. Countless creatures of the dark yellow race roared uncontrollably. What kind of powerhouse was he? He had punched through the supreme giant who wanted to suppress the dark yellow universe with one hand. Billions of creatures felt their scalps go numb as they lost control of their emotions. Look, that's my master. It's my master. In the chaos ruins, Master Kong was as excited as a child. He danced with joy and roared excitedly. Did you see that? What kind of bullsh asterisk T giant wants to suppress the dark yellow universe with one hand? He's not even as good as a dog in front of my master. Okay, we got it. Calm down. Kong Xian and the others' ears were about to explode. They hurriedly comforted Master Kong to calm down. They were really worried that he would faint from excitement. The entire world was in an uproar. At this moment, they found their dignity and hope. Their emotions exploded. At this moment, even if they died, they would have no regrets. It's him. He's the giant behind Su Xianren back then. Someone recognized prehistoric Big Brother and was extremely shocked. This giant was so powerful. Who would have thought that there was such a fierce person in the dark yellow universe who could kill a supreme giant with one punch? Su Yan's scalp went numb, and his blood surged. He knew that his big brother was powerful, but he never thought that prehistoric Big Brother would be so terrifying in this domain. He was the god of war who could suppress everything. What a powerful existence. Who is he? Is he really a general or marquis of the ancient celestial court? In the celestial court, a giant bamboo that was about to dry up was awakened by its big brother's power. It said in shock, it should be, legend has it that the ancestor followed the founder of the celestial court. During the heyday of the celestial court, Any one of his generals was enough to sweep away the imperishable sections. That's the symbol of invincibility. Perhaps the universe can still be saved. It seemed very excited. It was glowing with ancient vitality and saw some hope. Boom! All of a sudden, an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation, like the vast ocean of the universe, surged violently in the world of nothingness. The cabin door of the giant golden ship exploded, but from within, streams of air rushed out one after another. Each stream of air contained a peerless power that was sharper than an immortal blade. It tore the world apart and destroyed this world of nothingness. Countless people trembled. Prehistoric Big Brother's actions had angered the powerhouses on the giant ship. They were all furious and sent down divine punishment. The energy ripples were too terrifying. They swooped down to the dark yellow universe and wanted to destroy the entire universe. Buzz! Prehistoric Big Brother stretched out his big hand and crossed the universe's space-time. The energy ripples that surged down from the sky were all evaporated. His power was too strong. He wiped out all the substances that threatened the universe, and the dark yellow universe once again returned to peace. And the prehistoric Big Brother with messy hair was majestic and imposing as he drove forward step by step. Along the way, his feet stepped on the powerhouses who were struggling in a pool of blood. His golden robe was dyed red with blood. His chest was crushed by the prehistoric Big Brother's foot, shattering all his vitality. His soul was evaporated. He didn't even have the chance to speak before his soul turned into nothingness. A big shot was completely dead. He was still frightened before his death. How dare he do this? Didn't he know what the name of the Cien people represented? Big Brother's footsteps stepped on a supreme powerhouse. His ferocious might shook the ages. Boom! The entire giant golden ship shook, releasing a dazzling immortal radiance. It even surged out from within, because layers of angry flames burned the void, causing cracks to appear in the space-time of nothingness. There were also numerous pairs of eyes that shone out from the depths of the shattered cabin door. It was extremely shocking, every single gaze capable of destroying space and time, causing the sun and moon to fall. It was truly inconceivable, and it was difficult to imagine exactly how powerful these existences were. The world inside the giant ship was too big. It was like a vast world, and it was difficult to find the source. No matter could be seen. It was like a space-time of nothingness. Boom! Among them, pairs of eyes opened in the void. Some were surging with chaos, some were sinking with the sun and moon, and some were destroyed with heaven and earth. Pairs of eyes stared at the prehistoric Big Brother, and killing intent leaked out. They really didn't expect that the dark yellow universe had a powerhouse overseeing it. He even wanted to kill one of them decisively. This kind of loss angered them. You're really not afraid of death by doing this. In the deep hold of the ship, golden paths stretched out, extending out. Each golden path was filled with a different aura, representing the three supreme paths of immortality. Then, three figures walked out of it. Their bodies emitted a dazzling light, like three ancient immortal creatures. They stepped out of the giant golden ship and walked in the world. They were brilliant, illuminating the starry sky of the universe. They were like three indestructible suns, casting down the light of the immortal path. Their terrifying energy shocked the world. Chapter 1328. Three golden paths extended out from the giant golden ship. Each golden path presented a completely different great Tao law, all of them possessing immortal Tao order. When the three immortal Tao experts strode out along the golden path, this starry sky was oppressed until it became dim and lightless. These three's life force was too astonishing. As they spat out, the vast space-time surged, as if it was going to be swallowed by them. What kind of world-shocking amount of spit out, tyrannical to the point of being unbelievable. Suddenly, there was the power of the prehistoric Big Brother, isolating the aura they leaked out, but the people of the world were still suppressed by the immortal might released by these three unmatched existences until they found it difficult to breathe their legs going soft. They were just too powerful in the end. Without a doubt, these three great experts were much more powerful than the ones killed by the Big Brother, their pores gushing with resplendent radiance. This type of order and law power could easily suppress the universe. The three great experts were clad in battle armor, their auras ice cold. Even in prehistoric times, this type of creature was considered an extreme expert, any one of them able to stir up a reign of terror, intimidate a prosperous great universe. Right now, the three experts stood on the golden path, their eyes looking at the prehistoric Big Brother. It was difficult for them to see through this person's depths, the killing intent in his eyes blazing. There was also a middle-aged woman among them, dressed in golden battle armor, her appearance not ordinary, but her aura was too oppressive, a domineering aura leaking out. Is it an expert from the ancient celestial court? One of the men spoke, his physique astonishing, the surging power of blood and chi too exuberant, the immortal splendor he released illuminating heaven and earth, making him look like a heavenly war god. The prehistoric Big Brother, his head of messy hair falling over his shoulders, walked forward step by step. Impudent, actually daring to not answer, too arrogant. That woman dressed in golden battle armor rebuked with a sunken face. This person didn't say a single word, even directly forcing his way over. Could it be that he wanted to monopolize the three of them? Actually, in the eyes of these three, the prehistoric Big Brother was already a dead man. No matter how strong he was, no matter what kind of background he had, there was no way he could continue living. They were also determined to get the mysterious yellow universe. This was a goal they had wanted to achieve since 1,000,000 years ago. If they could figure out the secrets of the mysterious yellow universe's evolution, or get the treasures left behind by the ancient celestial court, it would be an amazing opportunity. Cold light blossomed from the eyes of the prehistoric Big Brother, splitting the sky apart. With every step he took, his aura surged. His continuous steps caused the void to tremble. A powerful aura swept over them, and the three experts felt a chill in their hearts. Let me test him. The woman in the golden battle armor was truly angered. She suddenly raised her jade-like hand. Her entire snow-white palm shone, and a true phoenix emerged. It rested in her palm, exuding boundless, immortal Tao energy. Boom! The void even exploded. The true phoenix revived, bathed in flames, truly like a supreme being creature. Immortal might pervaded the air, its aura extremely freakish. Roar! In an instant, the true phoenix spread its wings, flowing with immortal splendor, and its body rapidly enlarged. A colossus was born, constructed from supreme laws. Its roar shook the outer space. This true phoenix's body was too big, surging with supreme immortal might. In an instant, it swooped down towards the prehistoric Big Brother. What a terrifying secret technique. Su Yin was shaken. Could this be the most powerful, great divine ability in history? But he felt that it shouldn't be. Perhaps it was the true phoenix's supreme inheritance, or perhaps it was a secret technique of the immortal Tao. Only under the urging of this kind of expert could a truly great divine ability be displayed. The true phoenix revived, emitting supreme heavenly might. Its body filled the outer space, as if it was going to swallow the prehistoric Big Brother in one gulp. Dawn! However, this figure that was pressing forward took one step after another. With every step, the heavens above and earth below erupted with the sound of thunder. The moment he took 8 consecutive steps, heaven and earth changed. The sun and moon lost their light, and the rivers and mountains lost their color. A supreme aura filled the vast starry sky. Beneath the prehistoric Big Brother's feet, a terrifying great Tao was produced, covering heaven and earth, as if it traversed the entire space. This enormous true phoenix's entire body trembled. It felt like it was going to explode under the prehistoric Big Brother's feet. In reality, from start to finish, the prehistoric Big Brother never placed the 3 great experts in his eyes. His goal was the giant golden ship, Dawn. When the prehistoric Big Brother took his 9th step, heaven and earth underwent a terrifying great change. The prehistoric Big Brother changed, his aura swallowing the universe. The vast void space also seemed to be prostrating under his feet, starting to tremble. Punk! The true Phoenix's figure directly exploded. The woman in golden battle armor was horrified. Using such a tyrannical method to obliterate the true Phoenix's secret technique, this person was truly no small matter. The prehistoric Big Brother's domineering aura overflowed into the heavens. Boundless waves were produced from the soles of his feet, instantly rushing towards the three great experts. It was as if a great desolate beast pounced over, suppressing heaven and earth. The souls of the three great experts throbbed, each of them horrified, and their auras were fully released, erupting to the limit, also instantly bringing out their life-divine weapons. A golden spear, a jet-black sword core, and a green war spear. The three great weapons were surrounded by immortal splendor. Together with the three war godlike experts erupting, the three great experts covered the sky, reversing the battle strength, erupting with the peak power, attacking the peerless power that was suppressing the world in front of them. Kill! The three great experts roared. They had encountered a great enemy, mustering all of their strength to resist. However, the instant the figure took his 10th step, heaven and earth collapsed. The void trembled violently, quickly collapsing into a terrifying large black hole. It was an extremely shocking scene. The prehistoric Big Brother's aura overflowed into the heavens, his head of messy hair dancing, a pair of eyes filled with ice-cold, killing intent. "Those who block me will die." He was roaring, like a supreme demon lord, pronouncing their crimes. The Big Brother's aura surged into the heavens. Millions of strands of killing intent surged out from behind him. He directly waved his fist, blasting forward. The entire starry sky began to tremble because of the Big Brother's eruption. So terrifying. Su Yan's emotions surged, and he roared, "Big Brother is attacking. He can definitely suppress all of them." Dong! This fist was unstoppable, like a giant, vicious beast that had broken out of a cage, roaring through the heavens, smashing straight towards the woman in the golden armor. Xian Yu's expression changed in shock. This fist was unmatched, as if a true dragon that had been sleeping for millions of years had revived, releasing a tyrannical attack. Her battle body was about to collapse from a great distance. She was extremely decisive, bringing out the golden spear. This weapon was revived, surrounded by immortal splendor, instantly reaching 100,000 feet in length, easily able to shatter the starry sky. A spear like this could kill a fiend god if it came crashing down. However, the prehistoric Big Brother was too tyrannical. This fist blasted the golden spear apart. Even the golden woman's entire body was trembling, the golden armor she wore shattering. She spat out a large mouthful of blood, her body flying out like a kite with a broken string, smashing into the giant golden ship. Everyone in the universe was shocked. The prehistoric Big Brother was too powerful. Who could stop him? His fist almost destroyed Xian Huiyu. So powerful. Su Yan's voice trembled, goosebumps rising all over his body. Big Brother was indeed Big Brother. Once he made a move, the world would shake. This was a man who could block everything alone. Xian Huiyu coughed out blood, her face full of shock. Could it be a peerless expert who had reached the grand heavenly realm? But how could the destroyed ancient celestial court have such a giant overseeing it? Hurry up and attack. The other two experts were also shocked. According to the information of the Ancestral Hall Master, they had never heard of such a person in the Xianwang universe. In the end, they had miscalculated. Boom! At this moment, layers of supreme waves surged out from the cabin door of the ancient golden ship. The interior was like a sea of stars, with shadows rushing out one after another. There were actually 5 experts rushing out, each with a stronger aura than the last, as terrifying as a group of ancient dragons. In the Xianwang universe, all living beings were shocked. How powerful were the races behind the Ancestral Hall? So many supreme giants had come. Of course, one could also see how much importance they attached to the Xianwang universe. Now that the 7 experts were standing in front, their auras were fully unleashed. Even the vast void of time was filled with a world-shaking energy. A great battle broke out, just like that. The prehistoric Big Brother killed his way into the void, blocking all the experts. If anyone was allowed to step into the Xianwang universe, there would be a disaster. Boom! The immortal light on the battlefield was blazing. Even someone as powerful as Su Yan could not see the specific scene of the battle clearly. In the void world, the immortal Tao was vast and blazing. This was a battle between giants, but the prehistoric Big Brother was not at a disadvantage at all when facing the 7 experts alone. He was too strong and wild. His eyes were filled with killing intent, wanting to kill all the outsiders. Kill! A loud roar exploded, shattering the void. So what if the 7 experts joined forces? The prehistoric Big Brother was skillfully pushing away the energy fluctuations that filled the sky. He charged into the middle of the battle. His body was like an indestructible immortal furnace that was ignited, releasing ancient and vast energy. It destroyed tens of thousands of Tao and forcibly suppressed the power of the 7 experts. What a powerful existence. A powerhouse who lived in ancient times has such amazing human functions. How'd he do it? Unbelievable. The 7 of us joined forces, but it's still extremely difficult to resist him. Try to stall for time. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. I've already informed the races. Someone will come to deal with him. The ancient celestial court is of great importance. After the battle of the strongest in the heavens, the race seems to have disappeared. It's not easy to meet someone who's still alive. I hope we can suppress him and explore his sea of consciousness memories. The 7 experts were like 7 gods of war from the heaven realm. The immortal sound of the great Tao rumbled in their bodies. Their combat strength was at its strongest state at any time. At the same time, they communicated and came to a shocking conclusion. This person might be extremely difficult to get rid of even if they did everything they could. Boom! The outer space flickered. The battle had just begun, but it had already reached its climax. Of course, the 7 experts wanted to stall for time and trap the prehistoric Big Brother. However, the prehistoric Big Brother was not a paper tiger. The flames of war were reflected in his eyes, and he released an unparalleled belief that he was invincible. Roar! His combat strength was continuously unsealed. In the end, he broke through the void space. The aura that surged out from his body shook the 7 experts so much that they could not stand steadily. There was also a thick, bloody light that sputtered out, dyeing the shattered void red. The entire universe had gone crazy. The Big Brother was facing 7 experts alone. Now, the blood of Xian people's experts was spilling in the outer space. This was a palm that crushed the top of an expert's head, blasting him into a bloody light. The prehistoric Big Brother was bathed in blood. The murderous aura on his body was too dense. The 6 experts were terrified. If they allowed him to continue killing like this, even if they waited for the big shots of their race to arrive, they would all die. Moreover, the strange man's combat strength was increasing step by step. What was his limit? It was difficult to find out. Get out of the way. Suddenly, the heavily injured Xian Huiyu rushed over. Moreover, she flipped her palm and took out a pitch-black decree. The decree flew through the air. In an instant, the soul fluctuations it emitted were too terrifying. Originally, Xian Huiyu wanted to use this decree to fight against the prehistoric Big Brother's primordial spirit and buy more time. Who knew that when the pitch-black decree and the soul fluctuations came into contact with the prehistoric Big Brother, his face would turn hideous. He seemed to have gone mad. He was like a madman, laughing and crying at times. Xian Huiyu and the others were overjoyed. This person was not in his right mind. There was a huge problem. The heavens are helping me. Xian Huiyu laughed. He might have been in a deep slumber for too long. His memories are in chaos, and there's a huge problem with his body. With the power of our primordial spirits, We can definitely imprison him and bring him back to our race. Chapter 1329. The ink-black decree was bestowed to Xian Huiyu by a certain ancestor-like powerhouse of the Xian people. This decree was extremely precious, and the material used to refine it was a rare primordial soul-type material. This was also her life-saving item. She was not willing to use it unless she had no other choice. She was also very clear that although the decree was tyrannical, it was very difficult to threaten the prehistoric Big Brother's life. However, she did not expect that the decree would have such a shocking effect on the prehistoric Big Brother. Boom! The pitch-black decrees started to burn, emitting a terrifying soul fire that burned the entire world. Very quickly, the soul fire enveloped the vast expanse of nothingness, causing the entire world to turn pitch black. Suyin clenched his fists, extremely nervous. This decree's aura was extremely abnormal. The black decree seemed to suppress the dark void world. The prehistoric Big Brother's eyes were empty. He seemed to have gone mad, laughing and crying at times. His memories were in chaos, and the ancient energy in his body was also starting to become chaotic. Not good. Suyan's expression changed. The prehistoric Big Brother's condition was greatly affected. It was difficult for him to stabilize himself. He was going crazy. At this time, the 7 Xian people who had joined Xian Huiyu laughed loudly. At the same time, they erupted with the power of their primordial spirits. The primordial spirits of the 7 powerhouses were naturally incomparably powerful. The soul fluctuations they released shocked the heavens and the earth. Boom! In this void, a soul storm was ignited. It rushed out in all directions, shattering the void. The entire sky was like a piece of paper, shaking and tearing apart. The influence was too shocking. It rushed into the Xianhuang universe and evaporated the primordial spirits of countless living beings. Fortunately, the void was extremely far away from the Xianhuang universe. Otherwise, the soul flames of the 7 powerhouses would be enough to destroy the entire Xianhuang universe, causing a monstrous massacre. Ha ha! Angry laughter echoed in the outer space. The 7 powerhouses each held their own weapons and attacked the prehistoric Big Brother at the same time. Boom! One of them raised a large hand and smashed the prehistoric Big Brother's back. This palm also seemed to have slammed into a wall of gods and devils, causing Big Brother's body to sway, almost causing him to fall to the ground, accompanied by a loud sound. However, the body of the prehistoric Big Brother was simply too astonishing. It was even more frightening than that of the great evil of the wilderness. When he revived on his own, the surging recoil force shook the palm of his attacker until it was badly mutilated. The dense white bones could be seen. Pooh! He coughed up a mouthful of blood and staggered backward. His chi and blood were in turmoil. However, a wisp of terror arose in his heart, and he roared, "This body is too strong. There's definitely a huge problem with this person's cultivation. Quickly suppress it, otherwise the consequences will be unimaginable once he regains his senses." Xian Huiyu felt his scalp go numb. The expert who had attacked just now had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. However, when his attack landed on the prehistoric Big Brother's back, it didn't leave a single scar. Instead, the backlash had even caused his palm to rot. What is this? A humanoid weapon with a terrifying supreme treasure body. It could even be said that he had once cultivated some kind of supreme treasure body and had already climbed to the great success domain realm. It was hard to believe. Just how strong was he at his peak state? If it wasn't for the huge problem with his body, then none of these experts would be able to survive. It was very likely that they would all be wiped out in an instant. Boom! An old man with a gloomy expression rushed up. He raised his hand and slashed out the dark sword embryo. This sword radiance surged out like a sea. It was too sharp and peerless. In an instant, it chopped down on the prehistoric Big Brother's neck. Heavens! The onlookers of the mysterious yellow universe were horrified. All the powerhouses were scared out of their wits. Who could resist a sword chopping down on the neck? It was enough to chop off the big brother's head. Wait, 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 wait. The old village chief roared in his heart. His eyes were red. He also wanted to stop it, but he steadied himself. He couldn't go now. Perhaps the big brother could recover on his own and suppress his body's problem. Moreover, with their combat strength, it was impossible to kill the big brother. Clang! The sound of heavenly weapons clashing reverberated, shaking one's soul. In this time and space where sparks were sputtering, an unforgettable event occurred. The extremely sturdy black sword embryo broke with a gotcha. It only left a bloody scar on the big brother's neck. How was this possible? The expert wielding the sword embryo was scared half to death. Just how sturdy was the big brother's body? It was much more savage than they had expected. Could it be that he had cultivated an ultimate treasured body? Roar! In the blink of an eye, because of the pain, the prehistoric big brother recovered a bit of clarity. He let out a loud roar. The heavens exploded and the boundless void collapsed. The 7 great experts trembled and spat out blood. Their bodies were about to be torn apart by the prehistoric big brother's roar. That roar was filled with fury, the wrath of the heavens. How could the fury of the prehistoric big brother be so easily resisted? The vast void of time and space collapsed. The giant golden ship in the distance was immediately torn apart and burst apart. This scene was enough to make one's heart ache. The value of the giant golden ship was immeasurable, but now it was shattered by the roar. This kind of loss made the powerful Sien people feel extremely pained. The body of the expert who was still holding the broken black sword embryo collapsed completely. Blood and bones danced in the air and dyed the void red. Roar! The prehistoric big brother roared again. His entire body was changing. He was becoming more and more terrifying and old, but he was becoming more and more astonishing and tyrannical. The world seemed to be dyed in blood, and the 9 heavens and 10 earths seemed to be collapsing. This was a phenomenon. It was too shocking. This seemed to be the prehistoric big brother's experience when he was alive. It shocked the heavens and earth and made ghosts and gods weep. Immediately after, the phenomenon changed. They saw the boundless sea surging and roaring. Huge waves rolled up on the surface of the sea, one after another. Each wave could collapse a great universe. What kind of realm is this? Xian Huiyu was scared. He had never heard of such a realm. This strange person's background was beyond their expectations. It was difficult to trace back to what space and time he belonged to. After all, they were extremely powerful. They could capture familiar regions from the prehistoric big brother's chaotic memories. They should be able to deduce his origins. But they didn't. These memories were especially ancient. Now, the boundless sea was roaring as if the ancient, immortal heavenly domain was burning. But the entire world was dyed red with blood and filled with the corpses of the strongest. These were unimaginable giants dying one after another. Blood splattered across the sky. These were his past experiences, his bitter experiences, ancient history soaked in blood. A faint corner of his aura surged over, making Xian Huiyu and the others tremble inwardly. This was definitely a big guy, definitely an important figure in ancient heavenly court. Xian Huiyu and the others felt that it was over. They might not be able to survive. They felt that this supreme demon master had regained his consciousness. However, just as the prehistoric big brother was about to look back, the phenomenon around his body changed. A heavenly blade came out of the chaotic darkness and chopped down on the prehistoric big brother's head. It made him go crazy. His strength pierced through heaven and earth, but he had lost his reason. He was like a mad demon and couldn't find himself. This is Xian Huiyu saw through some of the truth. He laughed angrily. No matter how great your origins are, your soul has a great Tao injury that can't be healed. This is an excellent opportunity to capture him alive. Boom! The pitch-black decree lit up again. Once it was ignited, a powerful soul influence surged out to disturb the prehistoric big brother. At the same time, the other experts also displayed their abilities. They used their soul power to affect his memories, making him go crazy and exhaust the energy in his body. A trapped beast struggle. The Xian people and the other experts laughed, their eyes filled with cruelty. They compared the prehistoric Big Brother to a wild beast. Once his madness was over, he would definitely decline. Soul Dao injury. Su Yan's eyes flashed with determination. He rushed out of the starry sky in an instant. Su Xianren, human emperor. All the experts in the universe saw a figure cross the sky and rush towards the peak of the heavens, charging into the void. Countless people roared. Once Su Yan entered such a powerful battle, he would fall in a single exchange. But Su Yan didn't hesitate at all. He rushed into the battlefield. This void had already been shattered, so its influence was very weak. Big Brother, I'm coming. Su Yan's roar was like thunder. He tried to wake up the crazy prehistoric Big Brother. At the same time, he took out the Celestial Emperor's war flag. He believed that with the Celestial Emperor's war flag, he could save his life and deliver the elixir of reincarnation to his big brother. Boom! When the flag in Su Yan's hand glowed, the war flag released a magnificent aura. It was as if a glorious door had been opened, transmitting the footsteps of billions of troops. From this moment on, the Xian people's expressions changed slightly. Their eyes fell on the war flag in Su Yan's hand. The crazy prehistoric Big Brother was also affected by the Celestial Emperor's war flag and regained some clarity. The war flag is still there. The experts' eyes flashed with surprise. They recognized the Celestial Emperor's war flag, but their focus wasn't on the Celestial Emperor's war flag. Who was holding the Celestial Emperor's war flag? Could it be that the Celestial Court had left behind a powerful bloodline heir? This young man, Xian Huiyu's expression was uncertain. She looked at Su Yan with a pair of bright eyes, trying to see through him and trace his origin. But she realized that she couldn't see through Su Yan. She even tried to observe him, but she seemed to see a figure standing behind him. It was very blurry, and she couldn't see anything clearly. It was like a world that didn't exist. Moreover, there was a terrifying prehistoric aura crushing down on her. The impact caused her soul to feel piercing pain. Although some of the images had completely dissipated, she was still in a daze. Who is it? Xian Huiyu's expression changed. Could this person's origin be even more terrifying than the weirdo? She felt that this matter was very important. She had to inform her tribe as soon as possible. Big Brother. Su Yan took advantage of the fact that they were paying attention to him and successfully rushed in. He took out the 6 reincarnation fruits and handed them to the prehistoric Big Brother. It's the reincarnation elixir. Oh no, stop him. Quickly suppress this young man. Don't kill him. His origin is very unusual. One after another, the Xian people's experts were enraged. An immortal came here and even brought reincarnation fruits. Did he have a death wish? The sky was filled with violent immortal path energy, and it surged towards Su Yan at this moment. A huge and boundless palm suddenly extended from the universe. The huge palm replaced the universe's sky. It was unimaginably majestic. The palm was so big that it divided the battlefield. It was unbelievable. This golden palm was even more majestic than the giant ship from before. It was filled with boundless immortal might. The old village chief carried a chopping knife on his back and stepped into the starry sky. Chapter 1330. The giant golden hand blotted out the sky and was filled with boundless mysteries. Boom! The giant hand divided the battlefield with a flip of its palm. Xian Huiyu and the others looked gloomy. According to their intelligence, there was no such giant in the Xianwang universe. However, 2 of them had appeared one after another. Perhaps there were other experts who had yet to make a move. 1,000,000 years had passed. Was the Ancestral Hall Master hiding in the Xianhuang universe useless? He couldn't even get the slightest bit of information. However, the Ancestral Hall Master's injuries were too severe. He was half dead and couldn't speak clearly. They had come in a hurry, so there were some things that they hadn't had time to investigate. Of course, that wasn't important at all. Now that the prehistoric Big Brother had obtained the reincarnation fruit, it was very likely that his soul injury would be healed. Once his strength was restored, the consequences would be unimaginable. It's him. The old sect master of the Big Dipper sect and the experts of the buried region were dumbstruck. They saw an old man step by step into the void. He carried a rusty woodcutter on his back and looked like a farmer. An old man who couldn't be any more ordinary stood out. He controlled the heaven and earth and cut off a path for them. The old village chief stood at the forefront, facing the remaining 6 experts of the Xian people alone. This scene caused the entire Xianhuang universe to boil. Many people's eyes were filled with tears. Their universe was filled with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. One after another, the reclusive giants stood out to fight against the extraterrestrial experts. Kill him. An expert of the Xian people's eyes flashed with killing intent. They couldn't let the prehistoric Big Brother consume the reincarnation fruit. Once such a giant monster recovered his peak strength, it would be a difficult bone for their race to chew. Don't panic. Xian Huiyu raised her hand with a calm expression. She was the only female expert of the immortal path. She looked at the 6 reincarnation fruits and sneered. This is an incomplete reincarnation medicine. It hasn't completely healed him. It's only in the first stage. It's impossible for him to recover. Hearing that, the other 5 experts of the Xian people breathed a sigh of relief. That was good. The old farmer in front of them alone couldn't stop them. After all, the old village chief was different from the Big Brother. They could easily see the limit of the old village chief's strength. So he wasn't a monster. What a pity. There were also some Xian people who felt that it was a pity. The legendary reincarnation medicine was known as the ultimate treasure medicine. Its price was higher than the sky, and it was hard to find anywhere in the world. They also knew a little about this type of precious medicine. It required a special environment and a long period of time to nurture. What they regretted was that the reincarnation fruit had already been plucked, so it was impossible for them to replant it in the soil. If the first stage of the reincarnation fruit was still planted in the earth, then that would be too incredible. It would inevitably trigger a terrifying reign of terror. Perhaps there would be some old antiques who would be willing to wait for endless years, waiting for the reincarnation medicine to mature. It was a pity that this reincarnation elixir was wasted. However, Xian Huiyu and the others were paying more and more attention to this black-yellow universe. If even the reincarnation elixir could be cultivated, this black-yellow universe was truly not simple. Perhaps there were still many supreme treasures and immortal herbs hidden within. Reincarnation fruit. The prehistoric Big Brother regained some clarity as he stared at the 6 samsara fruits that Su Yan had taken out. Big Brother, could it be that this thing is useless to you? Su Yan's expression changed. He heard Xian Huiyu's words clearly, which made Su Yan anxious. Moreover, he didn't know how long the old village chief could hold them back. Although the old village chief was strong, he was definitely not as monstrous as his Big Brother. Otherwise, the old village chief would have stood up long ago instead of letting his Big Brother be humiliated just now. The prehistoric Big Brother grabbed the 6 samsara fruits in his hand. He suddenly roared and leaped up from the ground. His majestic figure was intimidating. His body was so majestic that it was as if he could split the heavens and earth apart and recreate the universe. The 6 samsara fruits floated above the prehistoric Big Brother's head in an orderly manner. Look, those are the samsara fruits. Could it be that the samsara fruits are helpful to him? Back then, Su Xianren killed everyone in the reincarnation universe and became famous in a single battle. He went through all kinds of dangers to snatch the samsara fruits. Who would have thought that this thing would be of great help to the experts guarding our black-yellow universe? The battle related to the reincarnation universe was unforgettable. It was still vivid in everyone's mind, especially the young overlords who participated in it. They had mixed feelings. What they didn't expect was that Su Yin wasn't willing to eat the samsara fruits. Even if it was an incomplete samsara fruit, it would still be of great help to Su Yin. After all, he had cultivated his natal secret technique, reincarnation. In fact, in terms of time, Su Yin should have known in advance that the samsara fruits would be of great help to their Big Brother. Therefore, he had been keeping them. Boom. The prehistoric big brother opened his arms. The moment he breathed in, a mass of gas surged out from his mouth and nose. This mass of gas looked ancient, as if it was the beginning of the world. 1. The moment the gas expanded, the extremely mysterious Upanishads covered the vast space. In an instant, the void space disappeared, as if it was enveloped by the gas. What kind of method is this? Xian Huiyu's heart was filled with shock. The vast void space had turned dark. This was the void energy completely disappearing. How'd he do it? This caused her to lose her composure. What was the void? It was really hard to explain. From a certain point of view, no one knew how big the void was. But if one had the strength to control the void or to refine the void energy, they could go wherever they wanted. Even in the void space, there were unimaginable fortuitous encounters. If one could ignore the void, they would definitely be able to find great fortuitous encounters that would make people go crazy. For example, the samsara fruits in the Xianwang universe. Once they were discovered, it would be a huge matter that would shake the entire immortal heavenly domain. The prehistoric big brother swallowed the mountains and rivers. His mouth and nose swallowed the gas. When the gas was spat out from his mouth and nose, the world rumbled. Time and space shook violently. It was like thunder from the 9 heavens, resounding throughout the world. The mass of gas swallowed the world, the sun, the moon, and the stars. It was as if it could swallow the entire universe. It was an extremely shocking scene. The mass of gas was also spitting out useless matter. This was the void energy that had been stolen before, and it was scattered all over the dark domain. However, this void space was empty. The chaotic matter was scattered, and it became a waste. He can actually steal the void energy? How'd he do it? Xian Huiyu's face was filled with disbelief. What kind of sacred art was this? Everyone knew that the void energy was extremely difficult to refine. It was too chaotic, and time did not even exist. Even if they were trapped in the void for a long time, their lives would slowly wither away. But now, they had seen with their own eyes that the prehistoric big brother had stolen the void energy. What was he doing? Boom! A mass of gas was spat out from the prehistoric big brother's mouth and nose. The mysterious aura was magnified. It was even stealing the fortune of heaven and earth. This is... Su Yin was startled. He had caught onto a familiar, profound meaning. It was similar to the body nurturing technique. Su Yin had also grasped the body nurturing technique. Hence, he could recognize the secret technique that the prehistoric big brother had used. However, he did not expect the prehistoric big brother's body nurturing technique to be so perverse. It was stealing the fortune of heaven and earth. Then, what level of secret technique did the body nurturing technique belong to? Perhaps the prehistoric big brother did not use the 3rd level. There might be an even more profound secret technique. The body nurturing technique stole the boundless energy from a void. Soon, the gas penetrated the 6 samsara fruits. Xian Huiyu and the others were dumbfounded. That's right, they were stunned. They could not believe their eyes. What was the reincarnation elixir? It was an ultimate treasure. Who could accelerate the ripening of the reincarnation elixir? They had never heard of it. This elixir was formed by stealing the fortune of heaven and earth. It was impossible to accelerate its ripening. But now, the prehistoric big brother was accelerating its ripening? At first, they thought that this person was probably crazy and was indulging in wild fantasies. However, when the 6 samsara fruits bloomed with the light of reincarnation one after another and turned into 6 little people chanting scriptures in the chaos, they were shocked and had goosebumps. Visible to the naked eye, the 6 samsara little people stretched their bodies and opened the great Tao of reincarnation. Under the push of the prehistoric big brother's hand, the great Tao of reincarnation instantly combined and turned into the light of reincarnation. The aura that filled the air made one's soul fall. They were about to be reincarnated along with the light of reincarnation. He has accelerated the ripening of the samsara fruits and entered the second stage. One after another, the Xian people's experts breathed heavily. How could something so ridiculous happen? He could accelerate the ripening of the reincarnation elixir. The 6 experts rushed over, and their combat strength was violent. The aura that leaked out from any one of them was enough to make a mighty figure explode and die instantly. Who could match them? The old village chief's battle blood was already boiling. He had been a farmer for 1,000,000 years. From this moment on, he was no longer ordinary. His entire old body surged with immeasurable immortal might. Roar! The old village chief roared into the sky. His entire body was immeasurable. His old body turned into a golden color. He was as brave as a dragon and immeasurable. He no longer looked old. Instead, he was quite young and full of heroic spirit. The moment the immeasurable golden body reassembled, the old village chief raised his hand and charged toward the 6 Xian people's experts. Boom! In an instant, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Gods cried and ghosts wept. This void world that had its energy stolen by the prehistoric Big Brother completely exploded. The immeasurable golden body against the 6 Xian people's giants caused a huge commotion. The scene was spectacular to the extreme. The old village chief's combat strength burned. His white hair danced wildly, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Old thing, how dare you stop the 6 of us? The combat strength of the 6 Xian people's experts soared to their peak. They were all true immortal experts of the immortal path. This domain was already very strong. They were the top experts of the immortal path. Although the immortal realm was already shocking enough, if they studied the most powerful Tao profound of life evolution, they could evolve into the immortal path. The limit of the great Tao was the ultimate mighty figure. The immortal realm was another evolution node of life. It explored the immortal path. The significance of the two was completely different. In a sense, it was almost impossible for someone to reach the immortal realm in a small universe. The current Xianhuang universe was still a small universe in their eyes. It was even severely damaged. Hence, the Xianhuang universe was very low in their eyes. As for the complete universe, it was tens of thousands of times vaster than the current Xianhuang universe. If it was the immortal heavenly domain, it would be even more shocking. The big and small universes in the immortal heavenly domain were as small as a universe pond. This also showed the cruelty of the problem. The big and small universes had their relative limitations. It was extremely difficult for an expert to step onto the immortal path. Every stage of the immortal path was also known by the world as the supreme stage of the supreme stage. Now, the old village chief had no hope of fighting 6 people at the true immortal realm. If you want to pass, it will depend on your ability. The old village chief shouted coldly. Boundless profound covered the sky and earth as it struck forward, blocking the 6 experts. He could not retreat even half a step. Even if the reincarnation elixir was only at 50 to 60%, it would be enough to heal his big brother's injuries. Kill him. The 6 experts attacked one after another, collapsing the sky as they attacked the old village chief. This was a horrifying, bloody battle, an earth-shattering battle in the immortal path domain. The sky was filled with the interweaving of the immortal path order. They had just started fighting, and the battle had already reached the most intense state. The 6 experts of the Xian people would not give the old village chief much chance to stop them. The continuous attacks caused the void to rumble violently, and a loud noise reached the heavens. The golden figure at the forefront coughed up blood continuously. However, his body was too domineering and indestructible. He withstood more than 10 attacks and did not retreat half a step. The boundless aura surging from his body was also becoming more and more terrifying. What a powerful scripture, even among the Xian people. The immortal path scripture he cultivates is also a top-notch scripture. Don't waste any more time. Send him on his way. The 6 experts of the Xian people were also angry. They could not take him down, even after attacking for a long time. They chose to work together, resonating the divine power in their bodies. Immortal Path aura surged as they attacked the old village chief. This boundless immortal power surged over, one after another, surging and splitting the sky. The old village chief stood calmly. He was fearless. Chief. At this time, the woodcutter on his back left its sheath on its own and landed in his large hand. Old brother, you can't hold back anymore. You've nurtured the blade for 1,000,000 years. It's time for the immortal slaying blade to bloom with your brilliance. I can't hold back either. How many years has it been since I last fought? Now the warm-up can end. The old village chief's pupils were blazing, surging with killing intent and surging with the flames of war. His entire aura was heroic and boundless. Life and death were nothing. The old village chief was not afraid. He could not weaken the might of the black and yellow immortal path in this battle. One chapter, there's more tonight. Chapter 1331. The auras of the 6 experts of the Xian people leaked out. The light of the immortal path surged, and the paths of the immortal path appeared under their feet. That was their path of cultivation. It was extremely vast. Each path of the immortal path emitted the order of the immortal path, accompanied by the sound of the great path. Now, they had chosen to join forces and get rid of the old village chief quickly. After all, it was too difficult to kill someone of the same level. Even if the old village chief was severely injured, his counterattack before his death was not that easy to deal with. If they were delayed for too long, the strange man might even be able to recover. The auras of the 6 experts leaked out like 6 immortal path suns. Endless dharma and order of the immortal path raged and drowned the entire universe. Boom! Heaven and earth were destroyed. The space and time in the void were completely collapsed. In the face of the torrential and unending energy, as it rushed over, it even blended together. The moment the fusion was complete, it presented a scene of destruction. How terrifying! Even the top experts of the Xianwang universe trembled from far away. They could not help but feel that their bodies were about to collapse. They were too powerful. The 6 of them joined forces to destroy the boundless power of the scripture. At this moment, the village chief's figure seemed tiny and insignificant, as if he were about to be completely obliterated by the power of the 6 immortal Tao experts. Old man, the purple-robed woman's eyes turned red. Who could stand against the combined might of the 6 great immortal clans? With such a powerful force gathered together, it crushed the heavens and the earth. It was like the great millstone of the universe that could crush billions of lives. In an instant, the vast energy of the immortal path surged and crushed the broken sky and earth again. The power of the immortal path was released and suppressed the old village chief. Everything became blurry and collapsed in the distortion. The sky and earth had been destroyed too many times. The entire space and time were filled with destructive waves. It would be difficult to calm down after a long time. The influence was too great. Look, someone was shouting. Even their soul was roaring. Under the destructive space and time, the old village chief did not move. However, the rusty woodcutter in his hand rumbled on its own. The dormant fighting spirit was awakened and instantly became 1,000,000,000 times brighter. Clang! Skyblades soared through the air. The moment the rust on its body fell off, the entire firewood chopping blade shone with a dazzling light that caused blood to flow out from its eyes. This was the eruption of a saber intent that could sever the past, present, and future. It was also as if the woodcutter was announcing its return. It was going to accompany its master and dominate the world. I've nurtured my blade for 1,000,000 years, just for this day. Today, I'll fight to my heart's content and kill to my heart's content. The old village chief faced the sky and roared. His entire body surged with boundless saber aura, and in a flash, he became one with the wood-chopping saber. He was the saber, and the saber was it. Boom! Heaven and earth changed greatly, and the sharpness was peerless. The immortal killing blade was completely unsealed, becoming one with the old village chief. Its aura became countless times grander, filling the heavens severing the endless void in space, winding about with immeasurable immortal killing blade radiance. Chop, chop, chop. The saber will was powerful enough to shake the world, and as soon as it left the body, all matter lost its luster. The fleshly bodies of the 6 immortal Tao experts were on the verge of being destroyed. Immortal slaying blade. What a terrifying saber will. They were terrified. In their eyes, the immortal slaying blade had turned into an immortal slaying guillotine that could kill everything, including the head of any expert. They lost their composure. Such a person, even in their universe, should be a peerless expert. He entered the Tao with the saber, and his future was limitless. This was the saber will, shocking the world and gods. After 1,000,000 years of slumber, when this immeasurable dragon was resurrected, one could imagine how powerful it was. He had nurtured his blade for 1,000,000 years, just for today's battle. Kill to your heart's content. Boom! The entire space was blasted apart, and the paths of the immortal Tao were cut apart. We're all going to die. A trace of madness flashed in the eyes of a Xian people's expert. He shouted, "Stop it, we must stop it, or we'll all die under this saber." Who in the same generation could match the unity of man and saber? It could be called a supreme treasure body, and it was going to kill them. The 6 Xian people's experts instantly took out their natal divine weapons and blocked in front of them. But it was useless. The 6 weapons were like paper and were broken by the immortal slaying blade. In the process, they blocked a part of the immortal slaying blade's divine power, but it was still peerless. The cold light was about to pierce their souls. Roar! One after another, the Xian people's experts tried their best to revive. They stood at the peak of their era and circulated the immortal Tao scriptures. They erupted with a powerful aura and rushed toward the immortal slaying blade. Kill! The old village chief roared. His eyes turned into heavenly sabers, and his entire body surged out. The spirit and fighting spirit of the strongest god-fiend in the world resounded in this space and time. The entire universe of Xianhuang fell silent in shock. They saw the immortal Tao sun disintegrate one after another, and the great Tao exploded. The Xian people's experts disintegrated and exploded one after another. Their blood dyed the endless space and time red. The impact was shocking. 3 great experts were hacked alive, their bodies shattered, and they were destroyed in an instant. The 4th Xian people's expert's body was split in half. The power of the immortal slaying blade stopped here. But this 4th expert didn't have time to feel fear and despair. His entire body rotted, torn apart by the blade light, and shattered into a pile of meat paste. Blood and bones flowed all over the ground. A blade that was enough to shock the ages. The old village chief hacked 4 Xian people's experts to death. Blood flowed down like a waterfall, dyeing the entire space and time red. Everyone was stunned. Too powerful, too domineering. The old village chief hacked 4 Xian people's experts to death with a single blade. Xian Huiyu and the others' hands were trembling, and they found it difficult to breathe. They were stunned. The old village chief's strength had left an indelible shadow in their hearts. It was hard for them to look directly at the blood-stained figure standing in front of them. Although he looked exceptionally old, his courage was monstrous, and his heroic spirit was matchless. With his back to the universe of Xianhuang, he was like an indelible monument standing in the outer space and time. Blade intent, you're so ruthless. Xian Huiyu's face was distorted. They had come here to seek a great fortune, but they hadn't even seen what it was yet, and so many immortal Tao experts had already died in battle. Even for the Xian people, it was an extremely heavy loss. 100 deaths won't be enough to atone for your sins. Another person was also roaring, for experts had been hacked to death by his blade. This was an unbearable loss. The old village chief, was laughing, and his smile was so cold. Blood flowed out of his mouth and nose, and his breathing was heavy. Weapon fragments also sputtered out of his pores. Dozens of fragments still flowed with terrifying blade intent. They were rumbling, about to reassemble and fight with the old village chief again. It's good that they're broken. The old village chief put away the weapon fragments and laughed. In the future, when I reforge you, you'll become even stronger. The old village chief had paid too much for that blade. His natal divine weapon had shattered, and he had suffered a terrible loss. That was a life-risking technique, and he could have easily died. But the old village chief's fighting spirit was still high. Killing intent leaked from his body, and he blocked the front like a wall of gods and demons. Xian Huiyu and the others felt a chill in their hearts. Killing 4 immortal Dao experts with a single blade still made their souls tremble. Damn, old man, you're too strong. Back then, you made me cry so much. I thought you'd really fallen. The purple-clothed woman cried and laughed. The old village chief's strength was something she had never imagined. This was the first generation's guardian of the universe, and he could be called the Tao protector of the universe of Xianwang. But at this time, a ray of brilliant light of reincarnation burned, and its influence was far-reaching. This ruined world seemed to be under the influence of reincarnation, and it was about to be reorganized. The prehistoric Big Brother's hands moved, and mysterious air masses spewed out from his mouth and nose. His posture was very strange, but the air balls that he breathed out from his mouth and nose came one after another without end. And in the process, the air masses seized the creation of heaven and earth, stealing the treasures of the heavens, and then nourishing the reincarnation medicine. The Big Brother was ripening the second stage of the reincarnation medicine at a terrifying speed visible to the naked eye. The entire reincarnation medicine was growing, and the reincarnation aura that filled the air also started to condense, to the point that it was frightening. It was as if he had really opened up the path of reincarnation. This scene shocked the 3 Xian people. What kind of secret art was this? It seized the creation of heaven and earth and ripened the reincarnation medicine. This could very well be the secret art from the legends. Xian Huiyu trembled subconsciously and then exclaimed in his heart, "Impossible! The legendary stealing heaven art can't be this secret art." But no matter what, the Big Brother was ripening the reincarnation medicine. If the medicine was effective enough, it might be able to heal his injuries. The legendary ultimate immortal medicine kept growing, and the Xian people were going crazy. If they did not stop him, he might recover, and it would not be so easy to capture such a great evil in the future. We must stop him, even if we have to pay the price. Xian Huiyu clenched his fists. The prehistoric Big Brother's background was too shocking. If they could capture him alive, the harvest would be great. Although she could not be completely sure whether this secret art was the legendary stealing heaven art or not. But if the tribe grasped a secret art that could ripen ultimate immortal medicine, it would be unbelievable. What did it mean to a tribe, especially to a peak tribe that had dominated the universe for billions of years? It was of great significance. If the 3 of us work together, we should be able to kill him. He used up all his energy in the previous attack. There's no way he can use a second attack. Kill. We must kill him. Our tribe's big shot will be here soon, and someone will suppress this strange person. The 3 immortal Dao experts' auras erupted. They attacked, and their auras surged to the peak, majestic and vast. They did not believe that the old village chief had too much combat power left. You think I'm out of energy? The old village chief laughed heroically like an ancient lion. Even his upper garment exploded, revealing his terrifying body that blossomed with endless divine light. Immeasurable, 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 wave after wave, unmatched syllables erupted, pushing the old village chief's aura. It crazily surged, and his majestic appearance was magnified countless times. His figure filled the sea of stars, and the sun, moon, and stars all revolved around his hair and palm. Immeasurable! Su Yan was shaken. This was the secret art the old village chief passed on to him. The immeasurable. However, compared to the old village chief, what he used was like a giant star compared to a speck of dust. What exactly was the immeasurable? The old village chief explained it perfectly. Let's fight to our heart's content. The old village chief who had been sleeping for 1,000,000 years burned with battle blood. Immeasurable aura surged as he fought against the three immortal Tao experts. Chapter 1332. The old village chief's golden body was immeasurable, filling the entire space-time. Even though it looked a bit indistinct, the endless divine light that blossomed was too blazing, surging, and erupting. His entire body rushed over, raising a fist, smashing towards Xian Huiyu. Xian Huiyu was injured to begin with, her body almost collapsing from the prehistoric Big Brother strike. Even though Xian Huiyu relied on secret medicines to recover quite a bit of her vitality, she was still the weakest of the three great immortal Tao experts. True Phoenix imprint. Xian Huiyu's jade hand directly reached over, the great imprint boundless, a true phoenix appearing in the sky, emitting immortal Tao laws, about to form a sea of order as it smashed towards the old village chief's fist. Dong! This was immeasurable fist intent. Even though it lost the divine might within its body, the old village chief's flesh shell was too astonishing, blood and chi surging even more than a sea. The fist force that erupted smashed into the true phoenix, its body even distorting. Kill! The old village chief roared, immeasurable blood and chi surging, striking the true phoenix until it exploded. A terrifying aura crazily surged forward, shaking Xian Huiyu's entire body until it trembled intensely, her internal organs feeling like they were about to split apart. She said angrily, "His body is infinitely close to the unmatched, precious body. Don't fight with his physical body." This type of physique was too powerful. Who could contend against it in the same generation? Once they encountered this type of person, no one dared to fight in close combat. Only by using world-shocking magical force could they suppress it. Otherwise, if they came into contact with a physical body, they would definitely suffer serious injuries. One could well imagine just how powerful Su Yan's imperishable golden body was. However, to approach the domain of great success, it was too difficult. The other two great immortal Tao experts also slaughtered their way over, also releasing their peak era strength, attacking the old village chief. They understood extremely clearly that this was a great enemy. There were overlords among the undying, but there were also overlords among the immortal Tao. The old village chief could definitely be called an overlord expert of the immortal Tao. Come at me together. Let's fight to our heart's content today. The old village chief's golden body was immeasurable, like a battle maniac, roaring loudly in the void. His moves were large and powerful, every strike heavy and ferocious. Long, divine might that filled the skies surged, difficult to suppress the old village chief's body. His blood and chi were too exuberant, azure dragons erupting from the crown of his head, gathering immortal Tao laws, tearing apart the heavens. Suppress. Three powerful roars, operating great divine abilities, drawing on boundless immortal Tao energy, covering heaven and earth as it crushed towards the old village chief. A terrifying aura rippled out, and a vast world of nothingness trembled. Boundless energy evolved into a great killing technique that attacked the old village chief. He endured the heaven-overflowing pressure, reviving the immeasurable golden body in the face of adversity. He released boundless blood and chi, stopping the three great immortal Tao experts. The old village chief's battle form was extremely ferocious. It was really difficult for the power of the three experts to injure his body. Suddenly, the three great immortal Tao experts seemed to vaguely occupy the upper hand, but it was truly difficult for them to do anything to the old village chief. A battle at the pinnacle erupted, reaching a white-hot level. The sky was filled with killing light. Immortal Tao power, the three great Xian people's experts were in a hurry to kill the old village chief. They used their greatest power, producing great killing techniques again and again to attack the old village chief's enormous body. However, his physical body was too tough, as if it was an astonishing, precious body. It was actually extremely difficult to break through. Although they could trap the old village chief for a long time and even cause serious damage to his body, they didn't have the time to wait. Bang! Suddenly, Xian Huiyu's aura became berserk. His body emitted the sound of tsunami, as if some shackle had been unlocked. A curtain of light shot into the sky, covering the entire universe. What a terrifying bloodline energy! Who knows how many times stronger than the ancestral Hall Masters? Su Yin wielded the Celestial Emperor War Banner to protect his big brother. At this time, he was shocked by the bloodline energy within Xian Huiyu's body. He even caught a type of Grand Supreme fluctuation that seemed to be able to fill the entire world. At the same time, the two great Xian people's experts roared in anger, activating the bloodline energy within their bodies. However, they were a bit inferior to Xian Huiyu. It could be seen that Xian Huiyu had the highest status among the Xian people, and his bloodline was the noblest. And now, the three great experts reversed their bloodline strength, and the sound of scriptures also transmitted from their bodies. Their auras rose sharply, and the curtain of energy that blossomed was like the birth of an immortal world, able to suppress everything. Suppress. The three great experts roared. They didn't believe that they couldn't suppress the old village chief. Without the immortal slaying saber, there was no way he could resist the three of them. You want to suppress me? What a joke. The old village chief's golden body was immeasurable, standing tall in the space-time. When the bloodline energy rolled out from his entire body, there was a vaguely majestic, supreme, heavenly might pouring out, accompanied by a terrifying prehistoric aura. Could he be a descendant of the emperors? The expressions of the three great Xian people's experts changed drastically. Where did this person come from? The bloodline power was terrifying to such a level. Roar! The old village chief roared into the sky, and his entire body emitted ancient fluctuations. It was as if a great emperor had appeared behind him, and his might suppressed the universe. It was incomparable. Boom! His large hands formed a fist seal, and he chanted immeasurable incantations. This punch collapsed the void, and with a wisp of supreme, prehistoric suppression, it attacked the three great Xian people's experts. The tyrannical punch shattered the space-time, and the energy shields around the three great Xian people's experts collapsed completely. They coughed up blood and were sent flying one after another. It was difficult for the energy in their bodies to gather together in a short period of time. No, Xian Huiyu roared, and his eyes turned red. It was difficult for them to gather their combat power in a short period of time, but the old village chief had arrived. He stepped forward and directly stomped on one of Xian people's experts. Ah! The Xian people's expert let out a shrill cry. His entire body was torn apart under the old village chief's foot, and then exploded. His blood dyed the space-time red. An immortal path giant was blown apart just like that. I'll send you on your way. The old village chief rushed forward, stretched out his large golden hand, and grabbed at the second immortal path expert. A vague emperor's might bloomed from his entire body. This was a supreme suppression. Similarly, the longer this bloodline energy was revived, the greater the old village chief's exhaustion. Blood flowed out his pores, and sweat poured down like rain. He was too tired. However, his large golden hand also tore apart the second immortal path expert's chest, and even grabbed his heart out. Ah! The Xian people's expert roared, in so much pain that he wished he was dead. His heart was grabbed, and the powerful life energy in his body was rapidly declining. He was about to die. Bang! The old village chief kicked his head, causing it to collapse. His appearance was too miserable. His entire body flew out, smashing into Xian Huiyu. Xian Huiyu also coughed up blood, her eyes filled with fear. The old village chief had really gone crazy, activating the bloodline energy without caring about the consequences. One had to know that the longer this bloodline was maintained, the greater the damage to his body. It might even cause his bloodline to become thin, and it might even collapse. But why would the old village chief fear this? He rushed up like a vicious dragon that had been released from its cage. He rushed in front of them to kill them. However, right when the old village chief was about to kill the two Xian people's experts, a wave of tremendous fluctuations swept through the vast void, producing a scene of the void collapsing. So powerful. Su Yin was alarmed, his voice trembling. What kind of expert was this, to cause the void to collapse? It was simply unimaginable. Was a great emperor slaughtering his way over? Kacha! An intense sound rang out, deafening to the ears. At the end of the void, great cracks appeared. They were extremely deep, extremely distant, and it was difficult to see the source. It was as if an enormous monster was crossing the void, but its power was too great, producing a world-shocking scene of the void collapsing. Old ancestor! Xian Huiyu cried out excitedly. Her race's legendary expert had arrived. She seemed to be able to see the scene of Tianyu trembling beneath his feet. The Xian people's old ancestor, what kind of figure was this? His cultivation was great, and there was nothing he couldn't do. He had almost reached the end of the immortal path. The void was reversed, terrifying waves surging over, crushing heaven and earth until it exploded. Pooh! The old village chief coughed out blood, his powerful aura completely scattered. He staggered backwards, as if struck by lightning, his body and mind feeling like it was about to split apart. It was to the extent where he could already clearly see that at the end of the distant void, a figure was crossing through time and space. Along the way, the void collapsed, making this world and universe tremble, making all matter tremble beneath his feet. Is that the world-destroying ruler? Xianwang cosmos creatures were alarmed. The life form that was slaughtering his way over was too terrifying. The Xian people's experts all seemed small and weak before this enormous life form, like a great magus before a great one. The one who arrived pushed open the vast void, running amok without the slightest scruple. It was to the extent where he opened a pair of ice-cold eyes, overlooking the void, even overlooking Xianhuang cosmos from high above. He clearly saw everything that happened here, and that was why he was furious. Kill! His pupils were ice-cold, roaring with killing intent. So many immortal Dao experts had died. This was an extraordinary humiliation for him, his heart dripping blood. The amount of time and resources needed to nurture this kind of figure was endless, an unimaginable amount. However, only two of them remained, and they were both seriously injured. The Xian people's old ancestor was furious. It was an extremely terrifying scene, the figure that ran amok without the slightest scruple, spitting out strand after strand of qi and blood, shaking heaven and earth. They were like immortal swords, tearing through the void. All living things trembled, a world-destroying pressure suddenly arriving, shaking the vast void, affecting many large and small universes along the way. Moreover, once this enormous aura erupted, it was enough to destroy countless things, leaving behind millions and millions of corpses. Who could resist it? Damn old man. The purple-clothed woman lost control, grasping the primal chaos pagoda, wanting to rush over and help him. But it was useless. Everything was useless. The one who came was too powerful. The scene of him moving also suppressing the entire outer realm space-time. This was the supreme, immortal might. Everyone felt that the old village chief had been crushed, completely obliterated, unable to stir up even a single wave. It was hard to imagine just how powerful this life form was. The old village chief roared towards the sky, his entire being like a different person. There was a type of supreme aura surging, erupting. At this moment, it was as if a slumbering heavenly emperor was shining with life. The instant his shackles were undone, a figure rose from behind him, filling the void, penetrating through hundreds and thousands of eras, his might shaking one universe era after another. He was like an emperor, like the heavens, like the Tao. My race has received the heavenly emperor's orders to protect Xianwang. Who dare stop me? The old village chief roared, terrifying to the extreme, suffusing the heavenly emperor Great Tao, intimidating the past, present, and future. Pu, the Xian people's old ancestor who ran amok, was shaken by the heavenly emperor energy ripples, coughing out blood from his mouth. His flesh cracked, simply about to explode. Chapter 1333. My tribe is under the order of the Celestial Emperor to guard Xianwang. Who dares to stop me? The sound waves that could command the entire world exploded with a loud bang. This was also accompanied by the release of the ancient Celestial Emperor's aura. The whole world changed. The supreme aura of the prehistoric Celestial Emperor came crushing over. Boom! The old village chief erupted. It was as if the ancient Celestial Emperors had come back to life. His entire figure was blurry and unreachable, as if he had run through thousands of eras and ancient histories. Boom! The world shook. The Supreme Emperor's aura surged out, filling the space between heaven and earth as if it had affected everything. It made all living beings in the universe tremble and then bow down in worship. The whole universe of Xianwang also ushered in a great change. One after another, the ancient celestial mountains shone. Every celestial mountain sensed something and awakened with the ancient emperor's aura. Boom! The 9 celestial mountains shone brightly, shaking the source of darkness as if it was about to collapse. In the abyss, the place where the tensor was in seclusion also ushered in a great change. In the depths of this sacred small world, a flock of true phoenixes flew, releasing the auspicious aura of the great Tao. They jumped into a giant palace and surrounded a woman who stood still at the entrance of the giant palace. They let out cries. The woman was peerless. She suppressed the long river of time and stood there for a long time because of the rich aura of time. It seemed that she was surrounded by the aura of the ancient celestial emperors. Her eyes looked into the distance. Even the ancient post progenitor was glowing and heating up. Its evolution accelerated a lot. The entire ancient life star was surrounded by sacred light, as if it had turned into a person, sitting cross-legged in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, evolving the Tao fruit. Rebuild Xianwang. The world changed. The aura of the ancient celestial emperors spread out, suppressing everything. Is the celestial emperor's backup, left by the creator of the celestial court? In the heavenly bamboo lineage, a withered giant bamboo awakened. Its voice was trembling with excitement. It should be known that the old ancestor of the Xian people coughed up blood because of the aura he emitted. His body was on the verge of collapsing. How is this possible? Xian Huiyu was trembling and shivering. She was completely out of control as she knelt down. She couldn't bear the aura of the ancient celestial emperors rising from the old village chief's body. It really was as if the celestial emperor of legends had awakened. He was supreme, and his figure had penetrated through hundreds and thousands of eras. He had been invincible since ancient times. This was an indestructible imprint. It shone and emitted heat, shaking the Xian people's ancestors to the point of insanity. Emperor's aura under the heavens. Didn't we enter the emperorless era? Xian Huiyu was terrified. That was the ancestor of the Xian people, a supreme existence, a giant who was practically unrivaled in the path of immortality. However, in front of the village chief's aura, the Xian people's patriarch could not control himself. He coughed up blood and his eyes flashed with fear. He could not look directly at the mysterious shadow rising from the village chief's body. Because of the emperor's might, they felt as if their bodies and minds were being torn apart. Even though it was just a mark, the Xian people's patriarch was so intimidated that he panted heavily. His scalp went numb. Could it be that the legendary person was still alive? Still alive? To think that a mark could contain such powerful energy. Why do I feel like that person is still alive? Otherwise, how could his influence be so shocking? At this moment, 2 Xian people experts, who were like wild true dragons, rushed here in an instant. Their auras were not inferior to the Xian people's patriarch. However, because of their solemn expressions, the situation was beyond their expectations and gave them a headache. The 3 experts soared into the sky, their auras exceptionally powerful. However, They did not dare to approach the Xianhuang universe rashly. By the decree of the Celestial Emperor, those who offend the Xianhuang will be killed without mercy. The village chief roared into the sky. His majestic aura was domineering in the past, present, and future. The aura of the ancient Celestial Emperors rose. He pushed the imprint in his body, wanting to erupt with the power of the ancient Celestial Emperors and obliterate the three Xian people's patriarchs. How dare you? Even if you have the imprint of the ancient Celestial Emperors, it's wishful thinking for you to obliterate us. The three Xian people's patriarchs were furious. They sat cross-legged in the chaos, their figures unreachable. The moment the village chief unleashed the imprint and the aura of the ancient Celestial Emperors surged, heaven and earth were destroyed. Everything was about to be ground into nothingness. The three powerful Xian people's patriarchs trembled. It was as if the Celestial Emperor, who commanded the reincarnation of heaven and earth, had reappeared. A corner of his robe could crush them to death in the void. Quickly activate the Imperial weapon. Even if it's just a mark, it's not something we can resist. One of the Xian people's patriarchs growled. His scalp was numb. This was the inviolable might of heaven. Just a mark was enough to grind them into nothingness. Boom! A translucent golden imprint suddenly appeared in the sky. The sun, moon, and stars were engraved on the imprint. It looked ordinary, but the moment it came to life, its imperial might was mighty and terrifying. Imperial weapon. Su Yan's eyes widened. This was an imperial weapon, a weapon wielded by an emperor. The imprint soared through the sky, as enormous as an abyss. Even the corner of the imprint was majestic to the extreme, exuding a supreme emperor's might. It stood at the very front, blocking the ancient Celestial Emperor's imprint that the old village chief had activated. However, the moment the two forces were about to merge, this aura that could destroy space-time rippled outwards, causing the space-time in the void to collapse. Space-time started to crumble as worlds were born and destroyed. It was difficult to describe just how heaven-defying the power was. The ancient Celestial Emperor's imprint can't use much of its power. We have the Imperial weapon, so we should be able to borrow it. However, if we really fight, half of the Xianhuang universe will evaporate. It's not worth it. The three Xian people's patriarchs' expressions were uncertain. They wouldn't act rashly for fear of destroying the declining Xianhuang universe. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get anything. The village chief's face was also gloomy. He didn't expect them to come prepared with an imperial weapon. The main reason was that the village chief couldn't activate the strongest Celestial Emperor's imprint. It was already amazing that he could use 20 to 30% of its power. If he used the strongest Celestial Emperor's imprint, no one would dare to attack the Xianhuang universe. The three Xian people's patriarchs' expressions were also uncertain. They couldn't make a decision for a while. Just as they were hesitating, a mysterious aura kept spreading to the ancient void, stealing the life essence in the distant areas. This was the mysterious energy that stole the fortune of heaven and earth, which attracted the attention of the three Xian people's patriarchs. When they looked into the distance and saw the prehistoric elder brother who was ripening the reincarnation fruits, their expressions were greatly shaken. They couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. It was as if they had met an ancient giant looking down on them. How can this race have such a powerful expert? I can't see through his specific strength. I don't know what level he is at. The faces of the Xian people's patriarchs were even gloomier. No wonder they suffered such heavy losses. There was still a giant guarding the Xianhuang universe. Fortunately, they came in time. Otherwise, the Xian people's experts would all die here. Although the prehistoric elder brother's aura was sleeping, it gave them a great shock. Xian Huiyu couldn't grasp how powerful the elder brother was. Only the Xian people's patriarchs could vaguely grasp how powerful the prehistoric elder brother was. He's ripening the reincarnation fruits? This method. The other patriarch's expression changed drastically. He stared at the prehistoric elder brother's actions. His expression quickly stiffened, and then he said in a trembling voice, This seems to be the legendary stealing heaven art. What? Stealing heaven art? Are you sure? The two Xian people's patriarchs' expressions changed drastically. They were both surprised and delighted. How could someone as powerful as them not know what the stealing heaven art was? Although this secret art wasn't the most powerful in history, its value was no less than the most powerful in history. It's really the stealing heaven art. Xian Huiyu's scalp was about to explode. This was too ancient. They had read about it in the ancient books of their tribes. The things involved were also extremely shocking. If word got out, it would cause terrible chaos. They didn't know much about the stealing heaven art, but according to legend, this thing could steal everything for one's use. Now, the prehistoric elder brother was stealing the power of nothingness. He was using the stealing heaven art to complete the reincarnation fruits. Of course, what they didn't know was that Su Yin had captured another secret art in the prehistoric elder brother's Taoist art. The heaven patching art. The stealing heaven art and the heaven patching art were combining to ripen the reincarnation fruits. Su Yin was confused. Were the body nurturing art and the heaven patching art a supreme secret art? But no matter what, he felt that the reincarnation fruits were about to ripen. Some reincarnation energy rain fell down. Su Yin was a little out of control. His chest glowed. The natural divine power inside absorbed some reincarnation energy rain on its own, causing his reincarnation secret art to be greatly strengthened and perfected. The little reincarnation figure sitting cross-legged in his chest absorbed the reincarnation light on its own and evolved his reincarnation great Tao. The reincarnation aura it emitted became more and more intense and shocking. Su Yan's emotions surged. His reincarnation secret art was being perfected. It would definitely become his trump card in the future. What else can it be but this secret art that can ripen the reincarnation fruits? The old ancestor said excitedly, "Unbelievable. This person has mastered the stealing heaven art, and his cultivation is unfathomable. Could it be that he participated in the ultimate battle?" The ultimate battle. The other two patriarchs sucked in a breath of cold air. Although it had been over 1,000,000 years when they thought about it now, it was truly shocking. Too many experts had died in that battle. Some of the imperishable sects had been completely wiped out. Too many things had happened in that battle. Legend had it that the ancient celestial court was also destroyed. After that battle, the decline of the black-yellow universe further confirmed the legend of the destruction of the ancient celestial court. The founder of the celestial court should have also died in the battle. Otherwise, why would the black-yellow universe decline? In that battle, the powerful enemies of various races invaded the black-yellow universe. The black-yellow universe was on the verge of collapse. In the end, the environment of the black-yellow universe was sealed. It shifted in the void and disappeared without a trace. Until now, the black-yellow universe had reappeared. However, an expert suspected to have participated in the ultimate battle was still alive. How could they not be frightened? If they could capture him alive and bring him back, they would be able to understand the details of the ultimate battle. Because almost all the participants of the final battle were dead. Even if they survived, they were crippled. It was difficult for them to come out for a long time. Therefore, the battle 1,000,000 years ago was called the ultimate battle by them. The reason behind it was also a mystery that had troubled them for 1,000,000 years. It should be. The ultimate battle has something to do with the stealing heaven technique. The three old ancestors were almost certain that the prehistoric Big Brother had participated in it. According to their understanding, the cause of the final battle was related to the stealing heaven technique. It was rumored that someone was trying to steal the heaven-defying fortune, thus triggering an unprecedented war. Moreover, those who participated in that matter were all the top giants in the world. It was too complicated and difficult to understand. They did not know how many things had happened. Even the Xian people suffered heavy losses and only recovered some of their vitality after 1,000,000 years. However, if they could suppress the prehistoric Big Brother, they would most likely be able to figure out a series of questions. The black-yellow universe has really given me a lot of surprises. The eyes of the three ancestors of the Xian people were filled with murderous intent. They were the eyes of an invader. They stared at the old village chief with cold eyes. As long as they could get rid of him, they would be able to suppress the prehistoric Big Brother. Xian Huiyu had already told them about the strange man's condition. The elixir of reincarnation had not matured yet. They still had a chance. It's just an imprint. I don't believe that it can keep him busy for half a day. Let's suppress it. The three ancestors of the Xian people made a decision. They attacked at the same time and activated the immortal imprint with monstrous power. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled. The imprint shone and emitted waves of Emperor's might, causing the great path to collapse. The golden imprint attacked. They wanted to destroy the imprint of the ancient celestial emperors. Those who blaspheme the celestial emperors shall be punished. The old village chief was full of majesty. The imprint in his body suddenly began to rotate. The void behind him exploded and expanded in an instant, as if it had been magnified millions of times. There was a blurry figure in it. It had crossed thousands of eras and was filled with an invincible aura. It had begun to descend upon the black-yellow universe. Su Yin was shocked. He sensed an aura from the old village chief's body. It crossed the river of time and seemed to have come from millions of years ago, making him feel suffocated. However, he was also a little confused. Why did he feel a sense of familiarity? De Zhang. Chapter 1334. Why do I feel a kind of intimacy? It's as if we're connected by blood. When the village chief's imprint was revived, everyone in the Xianhuang universe felt their emotions surge uncontrollably. Connected by blood, it was as if the primogenitor of the outer realms had returned to Xianhuang, causing their blood to swell. They roared and even knelt on the ground in worship. This was because they felt that their primogenitor was unbelievably powerful and had descended upon Xianhuang with an invincible aura. Although this figure was blurry, it was too majestic, overlooking the past, present, and future. A mere imprint emitted a bit of heavenly might, yet it could not be blasphemed. The incoming golden imprint trembled and was about to be shattered by the aura of the ancient celestial emperors. Revive the emperor artifact. The expressions of the three patriarchs changed greatly. One of their bodies surged with boundless energy, piercing into the golden immortal seal. With every breath, the damage was extremely serious. After being pierced through more than 10 times, the golden immortal seal became a lot more terrifying. Boom! The world trembled, and the sun and moon lost their light. The vast void of time and space welcomed a great tremor. It was an extremely terrifying scene. The vast void was evaporated. When the ancient celestial emperor's imprint and the golden imprint collided, everyone felt that the world was destroyed and that everything no longer existed. In fact, if this battle had not taken place in the void of time and space, the entire Xianhuang universe would have collapsed. Suppress. The three Xian people's patriarchs' auras surged as they joined forces to control the golden imprint. This imprint was like the birth of an immortal world, containing the sea of stars and majestic emperor's might. The moment it came crashing down, the supreme ancient celestial emperor's figure was faintly indistinct, as if it was about to be suppressed. Roar! The village chief roared at the sky and frantically operated the ancient celestial emperor's imprint. However, his power was limited and he could not activate the imprint to its strongest state. Thus, he could only see the celestial emperor's figure and was about to be humiliated. I've embarrassed you. The old village chief let out a low roar. He wanted to use the imprint to its strongest state, but he really couldn't do it. During the process, the village chief's body was rapidly aging. His qi and blood were beginning to dry up, and his bodily functions were greatly deteriorating. How could the imprint be activated so easily? It required a vast amount of energy to operate. This imprint didn't belong to the old village chief, but to the immeasurable lineage. The imprint was passed down from ancient times. Although it was completely preserved, it was difficult for him to unleash the full power of the imprint of the ancient celestial emperors with his strength. The old village chief howled in grief. If it wasn't because of the aging of his body, even if he died in battle, he wouldn't even frown. However, The humiliation of the celestial emperor's imprint was an unbearable pain for the old village chief. He roared, "Emperor's weapon, come!" Their roars, accompanied by deafening Tao sounds, were transmitted to Xianhuang and the abyss of space-time. The three golden rulers flew out of the abyss in an instant. One golden ruler after another, brimming with boundless monarch might, flew out of Xianhuang and appeared in front of the village chief. He had used the seal of the celestial emperor to activate the golden ruler. Although the emperor's weapon was broken, once it was activated, boundless emperor's might surged out, causing the golden immortal seal to rumble and be sent flying. A damaged emperor's weapon. The Xianhuang universe might be damaged, but it definitely contains great fortune. Hold on. He can't hold on for too long. Once he's exhausted, we can also seize the celestial emperor's imprint. The three Xian people's patriarchs were also exhausted, but their spirits were high. Using their life force, they continuously revived the golden immortal seal and pressed forward. As long as they could maintain this state, they could exhaust the old village chief to death. Although the situation was under control, the old village chief's condition was getting worse and worse. His hair was white, and his life force was almost exhausted. He was about to pass away in the void of space-time. I can't hold on much longer. I hate that I can't use the celestial emperor's imprint. I can't make up for the humiliation of the celestial emperor's dharma idol. Howled the old village chief. How noble was the imprint? Once it was activated, who could resist it? It was as if he was pressing down with a single hand. Who could contend against it? Hurry up! That weirdo is about to mature the reincarnation medicine by 60 to 70%. The three Xian people's patriarchs were anxious. Their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. At this moment, they coughed out their life essence blood and sprinkled it on the golden immortal seal. This caused the complete emperor's weapon to tremble, and a supreme emperor's aura spread out. This great imprint was the great seal that overturned the heavens. It was overturning. Once it was overturned, it would definitely destroy everything. The old village chief's body was torn apart. Just as it was about to collapse, a dark green divine light burst out along with an endless amount of life essence and penetrated the old village chief's body. I am under the orders of the progenitor to oversee the Xianhuang universe. I don't want to be a deserter. The sky bamboo branch soared into the void of space-time and arrived in front of the old village chief. Boundless life force surged out and surged into his body. It's making a move. Su Yan's emotions surged. At this critical moment, the old village chief had made a move. It was unwilling to be a deserter. Su Yan didn't expect the old village chief to be so astonishing. An ancient bamboo surged with the divine might of the immortal Tao. That's our tribe's giant bamboo. The entire sky bamboo branch was in an uproar. All the clansmen were moved to tears. It turned out that their tribe had always had such an existence overseeing it. Now, it was helping the old village chief to resist the invasion of the outer realm. Not good. The expressions of the Xian people's three ancestors changed dramatically. This giant bamboo was also an immortal Tao expert. Although it had been greatly damaged, it still had a huge amount of life essence. After all, it was a plant-type life form, so the life aura it contained was too magnificent. When it penetrated the old village chief's body, it directly blended with his energy perfectly. It even stimulated the ancient celestial emperor's imprint, and it suddenly blazed brightly. Great celestial emperor, resurrect! The old village chief roared. The figure behind him became much clearer. It was a figure, magnificent and peerless. It had the immortal sky above its head, and its feet stepped on the wilderness. The emperor's might seemed to spread throughout space-time. From this moment on, countless people trembled and knelt on the ground. The three powerful Xian people's ancestors were all trembling. The golden imprint in front of them dimmed. The three of them even had to bow in front of the magnificent emperor's might. No, they were truly terrified. They really felt that the ancient celestial emperors had come back to life, and no one could stand up to them. From this moment on, The vast and boundless space-time was silent. This was a magnificent aura that seemed to radiate across the entire space-time, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Even in the strongest universe in the void, the undying heavenly domain. This was the birthplace of myths and legends, and it had been glorious for billions of years. It was also the birthplace of all kinds of terrifying clans. At this moment, in the undying heavenly domain, some old monsters with long lifespans came back to life. They looked at the space-time from afar, and their eyes were filled with fear. They thought to themselves, what a terrifying aura. During the final battle 1,000,000 years ago, this aura disappeared and never appeared again. But now, it's resurfacing again. The undying heavenly domain was too big, and it was boundless. The size of a single state was comparable to a great universe. It was unimaginably magnificent. At the border of the undying heavenly domain, some old monsters noticed it, and it caused a huge storm. Rumble. Although it was just at the border of the undying heavenly domain, there were still many orthodoxies and clans. At this moment, their divine light shone brightly, and a warning sound was transmitted. This frightened them. What was going on? Meanwhile, in a peak clan that had been glorious for billions of years, immortal light surged and murderous sounds could be heard. This is not good. The 3 old ancestors are warning us. I'm afraid something big is going to happen in the Xianhuang universe. Some Xian people's expression changed drastically. The 3 old ancestors had crushed their communication token. This meant that something big was going to happen. The problem in the Xianhuang universe was something that even the old ancestors could not handle. Meanwhile, another clan in the undying heavenly domain was shaken. This clan was also prosperous. In the ancestral court, divine light began to erupt on its own. A stone-like green bamboo was filled with ancient life, and it seemed like it was coming back to life. The entire clan was in an uproar. They all noticed that the primogenitor stone statue that had been dormant for 1,000,000 years was coming back to life. Among the clans, a group of indomitable experts stood out and sealed the changes in the ancestral court, suppressing the chaos of the clans. It was the experts under the primogenitor that made the ancestral court statue sense it and locate its coordinates. The Xianhuang universe has appeared. Immediately dispatch experts to the Xianhuang universe. The heavens bless our clan. Maybe the experts under it can open the primogenitor's place of death. In the heavenly bamboo lineage, a group of great figures made a decision. This matter was very important. If it succeeded, the impact would be far-reaching. In the void, the emperor's might rippled. The aura was boundless, as if a golden age was collapsing. It came too unimaginably. Rumble. A majestic figure gradually became clear. Although it was difficult for the masses to see his face, this supreme figure was incomparably majestic. He came, emitting the vicissitudes of time. Although it was only an imprint, it showed his invincible demeanor. He also seemed to have come from a distant time and space. Step by step, he crossed thousands of years. When the true meaning was revealed, the golden immortal imprint that suppressed him trembled as if it was about to collapse. This emperor artifact wailed and trembled. In front of the celestial emperor, it was too insignificant. The emperor artifact even took human form and kowtowed towards the ancient celestial emperor's imprint. It didn't want to be destroyed. Pooh! The 3 great Xian people coughed out blood. Their bodies flew out in unison. Their souls were in intense pain, as if their souls were about to scatter. They felt fear. They didn't dare look at the figure in front of them. It was as if they were looking at the ruler of their lives. Even the trump card they brought, the Emperor artifact, was trembling. It was kowtowing towards the ancient celestial emperor's imprint. This was too outrageous. The old village chief and the giant bamboo joined forces to activate the celestial emperor imprint. Although it wasn't at its strongest state, it was enough to suppress the current chaos. Celestial Emperor. The old village chief was so excited that he trembled. His eyes were brimming with tears. Although he hadn't seen the Celestial Emperor's true body, he knew too well how terrifying this person was. He would never believe that the Celestial Emperor would be destroyed. The final battle was over. The world was rumored to have fallen, but he didn't believe the Celestial Emperor would remain silent. Why do I feel a sense of familiarity? Have we met before? Su Yin murmured. This was a feeling of déjà vu, which made Su Yin dumbfounded. All of a sudden, a pair of eyes looked over at him. Su Yin was stunned. His thoughts were stiff. The Golden Maiden, who was sealed by him, was shivering. She couldn't see or hear anything, but she knew that it was the Celestial Emperor who was watching Su Yin. This made the Golden Maiden feel shocked and incredulous. Why was it like this? Why was the Celestial Emperor, who lived in myths and legends, watching a little ant? This was too outrageous. Buzz! The Celestial Emperor's pair of eyes pierced through Su Yin and saw everything. He had obtained the truth from an imprint. Or rather, he had obtained an experience. He sighed. The heavenly Tao was flawed. Chapter 1335. Su Yin's rigid mind gradually recovered. When Su Yin regained consciousness, his body trembled violently. This was a wisp of clear qi that looked like the light from the heavenly emperor's imprint. It swept into his body. The special airflow flowed through Su Yin's limbs and bones, stimulating his flesh shell and making his blood boil. This was a shocking change. The special clear qi cleansed Su Yin's flesh shell, causing his body to become sparkling and translucent like a burning immortal furnace. His blood and energy surged and rushed out of his body. Even his pores spurted out a lot of filth. Such a huge change made Su Yin's emotions surge. This wisp of clear qi was too special. After cleansing Su Yin's flesh shell, his blood and energy became much more vigorous. His body became even more translucent and radiant, filled with endless vitality. Su Yin even felt that the treasures in his body had been activated under the stimulation of the clear qi. He was shocked and in disbelief. This wisp of clear qi was like the strongest substance that was born when the world was created. It nourished Su Yin. When the clear qi was absorbed by his body, Su Yin's aura surged. His body's treasures surged with a large amount of golden immortal substance, thick and dense. Bam! His body trembled violently. A huge amount of aura leaked out, and the immortal substance in his body multiplied. There was even a special clear qi. The effect was terrifying. Su Yin's body rumbled again. His aura expanded again, and the treasures in his body opened up a little more. The immortal substance in his body increased by a large amount. The Golden Maiden was stunned. Su Yin had broken through 2 minor realms in a short period of time. He had just entered the immortal realm and refined the immortal medicine. However, his strength was only at the first sky of the immortal realm. Now, he had broken through 2 major barriers and stepped into the 3rd sky of the immortal realm. Wasn't this a little too outrageous? One had to know that it took a long time to break through a minor realm in the immortal realm. It could easily take hundreds or even thousands of years. Even with all kinds of rare secret medicines, it still took a lot of time to mature the immortal substance in the body. It was impossible to break through a minor realm in the blink of an eye. The sempiternal realm had a total of 9 levels. The time needed to evolve from a life form to the 9 heavens could easily take tens of thousands of years. Those with outstanding talent might be able to reach this level in 1,000 years. Of course, there were always some who were different. Some were perverts, some were undying overlords with shocking foundations. However, advancing a small level in a few years was already very shocking. But Su Yin had broken through 2 major checkpoints in a short period of time. This was simply too inconceivable. One had to know that with every breakthrough in the sempiternal realm, one's combat prowess would increase explosively. In the past, Su Yin had been able to challenge cultivators of a higher realm than him. However, in the sempiternal realm, it was extremely difficult for him to challenge cultivators of a higher realm than him unless he cultivated the immortal golden body. Su Yin even had a feeling that he could reach the 3rd level of the immortal realm in one go. Su Yan's strength had soared by a large margin. He was especially excited. He wanted to say that if he could use a few more strands, he might be able to reach the 9th heavenly layer of the immortal realm. However, Su Yan didn't even have time to be happy. His body became unstable, large amounts of undying matter in his body rampaging. There were signs that Su Yan's body was about to be destroyed. This is bad. Su Yan was alarmed. His cultivation base had increased too much, causing it to become unstable. He quickly stabilized his mind and suppressed the rampaging, undying matter in his body. There was a lingering fear in his heart. Fortunately, his body was tough. Otherwise, there would be a huge problem. Is the Celestial Emperor trying to help me? Do you think I'm too weak? Since we're old acquaintances, why don't you help me? Su Yan was narcissistic. He admired the ancient celestial emperors to the extreme. He was even the celestial emperor of the Xianhuang universe. Su Yan frowned slightly. He looked at himself with his primordial spirit. Suddenly, a strange feeling rose in his heart. I am who I am, he muttered. He murmured, subconsciously startled. How could he have such a preposterous feeling? He even felt that his body was lighter, as if he had lost a layer of shackles. It was as if he had lost some kind of influence. This was a very unique phenomenon. Moreover, his Tao heart was stronger, and his great Tao was broader. Su Yan was bewildered. Was that clear qi given to him by the Celestial Emperor? Could it be that the Celestial Emperor had something to do with him? That clear qi had cut off the connection between him and Su Yan. However, it had also unconsciously stimulated Su Yan to break through 2 small realms. What the hell happened? The Golden Maiden was anxious to know. That was the legendary Celestial Emperor who had disappeared in the final battle 1,000,000 years ago. Legend had it that after that battle, the entire immortal celestial domain had entered an era where there were no emperors. Because legend had it that they were all dead. They were all killed. The final battle was too unbelievable. Who wouldn't want to know about it? However, this matter was taboo. No one dared to discuss it openly. Su Yan kept his mouth shut. He couldn't reveal any clues related to the Celestial Emperor. Even if it was just a guess, he wouldn't say a word. At this moment, Su Yan's eyes looked at the figure of the ancient Celestial Emperors. It was hard to imagine that it was just a mark. The 3 ancestors of the Xian people were severely injured. The Golden Celestial Emperor's mark had also dimmed. The 3 of them were in despair. They wanted to escape from the black-yellow universe. They didn't expect that this mark would contain such powerful energy. Even the old chief and the giant bamboo had paid a huge price to unleash a part of the Celestial Emperor's mark's power. If the mark was fully unleashed, his strength would be unimaginable. In fact, the time since the Celestial Emperor's mark was awakened was very short. However, from this moment on, the world changed dramatically. Darkness covered the sun. The world was filled with chaos and panic. The whole space-time was trembling. Endless darkness suddenly swept over and covered the aura of the ancient Celestial Emperors. It was as if a giant monster that had been spying on the black-yellow universe suddenly opened its bloody mouth to devour the Celestial Emperor's mark. Oh no! The old chief's expression changed dramatically. Darkness was coming. However, the source was not the eruption of the black-yellow universe. Instead, a vast and rootless darkness appeared outside the black-yellow universe, covering the void. The prehistoric Big Brother was awakened. He looked through the darkness and chased after the source. His expression was serious. He instantly swallowed the ripened reincarnation fruit into his stomach. He wanted to recover as soon as possible. The source of the darkness was unknown. In short, it was reviving and erupting. Then, a corner of the black ocean crashed into the void of space-time and crushed the 9 heavens. Billions of dark storms surged on the surface of the sea. Waves surged and tsunamis roared. Huge waves rose from a corner of the dark ocean. Like a destructive wind, they surged over. Every storm seemed to be able to destroy the immortal path powerhouses. Disaster. The 3 ancestors of the Xian people trembled. They lived in fear. Just seeing a corner of the darkness was enough to make their bodies and minds crack. Go, leave this place. Go! The three powerhouses roared. They had completely lost control. They were frightened and didn't even want to come to the black-yellow universe again. There was a big problem with the destruction of this domain. They saw the legendary disaster. Their hearts trembled and they couldn't extricate themselves. Boom! The darkness that filled the sky fell down, rushing towards the celestial emperor's imprint. This shadow that lived in legends and myths seemed to be drowned by the darkness, about to extinguish the flame of life. Roar! The old village chief let out a loud roar. He burned all of his life force and activated the celestial emperor's imprint. It's you, it's you. The giant bamboo also went crazy. The ancestor had fallen. He saw the boundless disaster of the darkness. The death of the ancestor was greatly related to them. Now that something similar happened, he felt that this was the source of the ancestor's fall. The giant bamboo let out a mournful cry. It shook its most powerful life force and pierced into the celestial emperor's imprint. In almost an instant, the two immortal path powerhouses almost exhausted their strength and life force. They declined at the same time. However, under their desperate efforts, the celestial emperor's imprint suddenly blazed brightly. It directly left the old village chief's body and flew out. It was as if the ancient celestial emperors that lived in myths and legends had come back to life. He erupted in the thick and surging darkness, tearing apart the light of darkness. He even stepped forward and began to attack the dark ocean. Realm C, it's Realm C. Meanwhile, in the distant Sky Bamboo bloodline, Sky Bamboo's great being cried out in alarm. The legendary Realm C reappeared. It was actually the most powerful disaster. Realm C seemed to have always been waiting for mysterious Yellow Cosmos' most powerful trump card. Now, the most powerful trump card appeared, targeting the ancient celestial emperor's imprint, as if it was going to seize it. How long? Heaven and earth exploded, the sun and moon destroyed. Nothing could be seen clearly. The sky was filled with emperor might, disaster everywhere. Su Yan's eyes were even pierced with pain. It was hard to see everything that happened in this battle, but he saw the ancient celestial emperor's brandish his emperor fist, awakening in the darkness, blasting Realm C, stirring up endless darkness storms that surged and roared. This battle caused the great Tao to collapse, nothing remaining. It was hard for the people of the world to see clearly what exactly happened in the darkness. They only saw an extremely massive figure cross into the sea of darkness, attacking the vast and boundless darkness Realm C. As for Old Village Chief and Giant Bamboo, they coughed out blood, their figures staggering. Their lives were almost exhausted. Not good, there are many trump cards in Realm C, trapping the Celestial Emperor imprint. Giant Bamboo saw some scenes, his face changing in alarm. I hate this. Old Village Chief released a low roar. He couldn't display the imprint's greatest power. Even though he and Giant Bamboo almost paid the price of their lives, they still couldn't activate the imprint's most powerful state. However now, the imprint was trapped in Realm C, still not at its peak state. The consequences were too horrible to imagine. What should I do? Old Village Chief's face fell. Giant Bamboo also became silent. It was to the extent where they felt despair. Could it be that the Celestial Emperor really was wiped out? Otherwise, with the Celestial Emperor's methods, how could he not capture the imprint's changes? If he sensed it, he could definitely activate the imprint's greatest power, attack the darkness. However, he didn't see it. Could it be that the Celestial Emperor was already wiped out? It was to the extent where the rich darkness descended once more. Even though it came from the borders of Realm C, who could stop it? Once it reached mysterious Yellow Cosmos, everyone would be buried along with it. Old Village Chief, in Zhang Family Village, the blacksmith roared. He saw endless darkness, drowning out everything, already reaching towards Old Village Chief. If the Celestial Emperor imprint is corroded by the darkness, the imprint might be able to revive on its own. Old Village Chief didn't fear death, but he wasn't willing to accept this. He couldn't see what would happen next. If the Celestial Emperor imprint really was seized, then he wouldn't be able to forgive himself. The surging darkness surrounded over, about to submerge Old Village Chief. A pagoda wrapped in chaotic light rushed over like lightning, stopping the source of darkness that was about to sink. However, in that instant, the primal chaos pagoda collapsed. The terrifying source of darkness couldn't be stopped. Pooh! The purple-clothed woman fell down. Her flesh dried up. She revealed a bitter smile. "Disciple, what are you doing here?" Old Village Chief released a heart-tearing, lung-splitting roar. His eyes felt like they were going to split apart, finding it hard to calm down. Giant Bamboo sighed. How could this be something that could be stopped? Even though the primal chaos pagoda was powerful before the darkness disaster, what was it worth? "Big bro, hurry and wake up." Su Yin released a great roar. His eyes felt like they were going to split apart, his entire body shaking as he roared, "Hurry and wake up." Huh. Suddenly, prehistoric old brother's body trembled intensely. His terrifying soul injuries, under the nourishment of the reincarnation medicine, healed considerably. His entire body's silent aura erupted endlessly increasing in power. His appearance was sometimes that of a youth, sometimes that of an old man. His aura changed greatly. Under the reincarnation Great Tao's fusion, the energy in prehistoric old brother's body merged, producing a terrifying and boundless supreme being aura, terrifying beyond compare. Huh. He instantly raised a large hand, stopping the realm sea that crushed down. Soul, return to heaven. At the same time, he released a great roar, releasing great Tao sound from his mouth, activating the Celestial Emperor imprint trapped in Realm C. Chapter 1336. Prehistoric Big Brother's power was unrivaled. His large hand smashed apart the darkness that fell from the sky, stopping the disaster of darkness that was about to drown profound yellow universe. Moreover, the voice of the great Tao he roared out activated the Celestial Emperor imprint trapped in Realm C. The entire Realm C also stirred up a boundless storm. A blurry figure shrouded in darkness instantly became clear, blazing so fiercely that it tore apart the darkness in the sky. Majestic Emperor might pervaded the air. Heaven and earth trembled. The sun and moon lost their light. Realm C seemed like it was about to collapse as well. He was too strong. Even the phantom of his weapon appeared on its own. A massive cauldron rumbled as it rotated, as if it buried the universe for all ages. Celestial Emperor, Old Village Chief's mind trembled. He saw an extremely imposing figure rise from the depths of the dark Realm Sea. He brandished his Emperor fist, shattering the darkness that filled the sky, attacking Realm C. This was aura, too unrivaled, crossing the past, present, and future. At the same time, prehistoric Big Brother also slaughtered his way in. He raised his boundless palm, forcibly crushing a corner of Realm C. He was like an archaic, great, vicious beast, slaughtering his way in. He wanted to join hands with the Celestial Emperor imprint to sweep through the entire Realm C. However, before prehistoric Big Brother left, he directly grabbed the Celestial Emperor war flag Su Yin held. Boom! He waved the Celestial Emperor war flag, the entire war flag awakening. The flag immediately enlarged by millions and millions of times. In almost an instant, it enveloped the entire profound yellow universe. This scene shocked everyone in the world. Profound yellow universe was sealed once again, isolating the world, destroying fluctuations from the outer realms. However, this wasn't the universe sealing itself, but rather the Celestial Emperor war flag. It sealed the borders of profound yellow universe, so one could imagine how powerful this war flag was. Otherwise, Big Brother wouldn't have used the war flag to seal the borders of profound yellow universe. Celestial Emperor war flag. Su Yin clenched his fists. He discovered that the Celestial Emperor war flag had dissolved, scattering down endless laws of order. It was also like millions and millions of troops lined up at the borders of profound yellow universe. It was filled with terrifying prehistoric killing intent, powerful beyond compare. But soon, The power of the celestial Emperor War flag also quickly merged with profound yellow universe. In the process, Big Brother's power also existed. In short, the universe was sealed once again. If the outer realms experts wanted to enter, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The entire world seemed to have quieted down. Only Su Yin and the others could vaguely sense the great battle in the outside world, the turmoil in Realm C. They didn't know what exactly happened inside. I'm too weak. I'm not even qualified to participate. Su Yin's eyes were red. The prehistoric Big Brother didn't want the threat of the outer universe to invade the mysterious yellow universe again. Therefore, he used the Celestial Emperor's War flag to set up a field that sealed the sky and the land. But it also showed how serious the problem was. Since Big Brother had sealed the black-yellow universe before he left, it meant that they didn't have full confidence in collapsing the Realm C. Therefore, they could only use the Celestial Emperor's War flag to set up a seal to prevent the black-yellow universe from suffering another calamity. It was hard to say how many years this gravitational field had existed. Su Yin could vaguely sense that once this gravitational field was activated, if an expert who had surpassed the immortal realm tried to barge in, he would most likely be torn to pieces. The universe had finally calmed down. Even if the extraterrestrial experts could come to the black-yellow universe, the price they had to pay must be extremely shocking. Silly child, why did you come? The old village chief was in a daze. He was also a lamp that had run out of oil. He had exhausted everything. Although it was a great pity that he couldn't see this battle, with the prehistoric Big Brother here, he believed that he could shelter the black-yellow universe from the wind and rain. The old village chief wasn't afraid of death. After 1,000,000 years, he had already accepted it. I don't know you anymore. The purple-clothed woman shed tears. Her jade body was drying up. Her immortal substance had evaporated. She was aging to the extreme. What nonsense are you talking about? The old village chief trembled. Although master and disciple hadn't seen each other for a long time, they had deep feelings for each other. Now that the purple-clothed woman was about to die, the old village chief's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. He let out a sorrowful roar. Master owes you. Silly disciple, I shouldn't have come. I really shouldn't have come. Sigh. The giant bamboo sighed. The purple-clothed woman had no hope of surviving. She had been invaded by the darkness. Her vitality had evaporated completely. Of course, this couldn't affect her life, but her immortal substance had been exhausted. After all, the purple-clothed woman was different from Su Yin. Once she lost her immortal substance, she was doomed to die. Master, disciple doesn't regret, the purple-clothed woman murmured. She stretched out her palm and placed it on the old village chief's hand. Her eyes were very dim. Ha 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 ha. The old village chief was laughing. He hadn't heard this word for many years. He cried and laughed. In the end, he coughed up blood. His hands trembled uncontrollably. Then he fell silent. His head drooped down. There was no life left. Senior, what's wrong? Su Yin lost his composure. He hurriedly flew over. His palm was filled with pure, immortal substance. It penetrated the old village chief's body and tried to extend his life source. The old village chief had sacrificed too much in this battle. He was the protector of the universe. If he really died like this, it would be the heaviest loss for the entire universe. At the same time, Su Yan's other hand pressed on the purple-clothed woman's body. There was also exuberant immortal substance leaking out. It gathered in her body, tried to extend her life. But the purple-clothed woman's state made Su Yan's heart tremble. The purple-clothed woman was almost hopeless. Her body was withered and even empty. There was no hope for her to stand up again. Fairy Xia, Su Yan roared. His hair was disheveled. He was unwilling and desperate. Don't waste your energy. If you have time, bury me in a beautiful place. Take good care of the old man. He won't die so easily. Take good care of him. The purple-clothed woman's voice became weaker and weaker. Finally, her breath was hanging by a thread. Her eyes gradually became empty. In the end, her life aura dissipated completely. Before she left, she recalled a beautiful memory. A long time ago, she was a little girl. She begged for a living. She wanted to eat her fill every day. She also wanted to become a little bird and fly freely. Until she met the old village chief. Then, her fate changed. Step by step, she stepped into the immortal realm and became the temple master of the Tao Temple. She became the protector of the universe. Her life experience was also very exciting. But the only person who knew her was the old village chief. In her heart, the old village chief was her only family. Although she knew that in the end, using the Chaos Pagoda to fight against the darkness was the same as courting death. But she had one precious time. Seeing that the old man was still alive, she had no regrets. Although she still wanted to have another exciting life, to roam the world and become a fairy, she felt that what she had now was enough. She could be satisfied and go on with her journey. Su Yin let out a painful roar. In order to save the old village chief, she had sacrificed her life. That "I don't owe you" contained too much sadness and emotion. More than 10 years ago, she had resigned from her position as the protector of the universe and handed it over to Su Yin. It was easy and carefree. She could have another beautiful life. In the long river of time, she could bloom her own brilliance. But now, she stepped forward bravely to block the calamity for the old village chief and her master. She had no regrets. However, before her charm could even blossom, it had already vanished. Su Yan's heart was filled with hatred. She had a great life ahead of her, but she had fallen. Darkness. Su Yan's face was ferocious. He roared to the sky. "Damn darkness, what is it?" Even if Su Yan's magical force overflowed into the heavens, he still couldn't save her. Saving an expert whose undying matter had dried up was something no one could do. There were gains and losses. Darkness. Giant Bamboo's words were also ferocious, releasing bone-chilling, killing intent. He also wanted to understand just what the hell this thing was. He felt like the fall of the ancestor was greatly related to darkness. It was to the extent where this battle. If it wasn't for darkness, then such a ridiculous thing wouldn't have happened. In this battle, if not for Realm C, the Xian people would have returned in defeat. But when darkness descended, it destroyed too many things. The old village chief wept. His head hung, tears flowing down his face. He was extremely weak to the point where it was hard for him to stand up. He really wanted to scream out, vent the sorrow in his heart. Su Yin found it hard to calm down. He looked into the sky, really wishing he could slaughter his way into the 9 heavens, destroy the darkness. "Su Yin, it's time for me to leave. Take care of yourself. Never give up. Never fall into despair. Cultivate diligently, and in the future, there might be hope for you to rush out." Giant Bamboo released a long sigh. He left, but he didn't regret standing out. Even though he fought until he was exhausted, his life dried up, his lifespan not much left, he still didn't regret it. Su Yin clenched his fists, his chest rising and falling intensely. Giant Bamboo's life was about to dry up. Dao Palace's palace master had fallen. Then, could the current old village chief still be saved? Even though the universe was sealed, the calamity dispersing in a short period of time, was it really safe? Cough, cough. Intense coughing sounded. The old village chief coughed out blood, his face pale like paper. It was to the extent where he wanted to stand up and circulate his vital energy. However, his injuries were too severe, not allowing him to move at all. He tried in vain to circulate his vital energy, making the old village chief cough intensely, blood flowing out from his mouth and nose. His entire body was about to exhaust the final trace of life force. "Senior." Su Yin was shocked, hurriedly stopping him. "You can't move anymore." "Ha!" The old village chief laughed like a madman. His blood-stained hair fluttered without wind as he roared hysterically. "I am also an immortal expert of my generation, guarding the black and yellow. But in the end, I can't even protect my own disciple. Lamentable, truly lamentable." He kept coughing out blood, his life draining away. Su Yin was nervous, constantly using his imperishable substance to nourish the old village chief's withered body, worried that he would die and leave. You can't let anything happen to you. If something happens to you, what will happen to Bound of Universe? Su Yan's eyes were red. Too many things had happened these days, one after another, suffocating him. It was no wonder that Juju had said before that if this day really came, he would choose to run away. However, because of the series of problems that had occurred, he had seen the light at the end of the tunnel. That was why he had taken action. He had also paid a great price. How can our ancestors not know about the Bound of Universe's calamity? The old village chief coughed out blood, but his words were powerful. We fought in the prehistoric era, but we had to worry about the future generations, so we had to seal the universe. Millions of years have passed, but the universe is still there, and the Bound of Universe is still there. Now, they want to occupy our homeland and slaughter the Bound of Universe. How can we agree? Why should we be afraid of war? Su Yan clenched his fists, his blood boiling with anger. This sentence was not only said to Su Yan, but also spread throughout the entire Xianhuang universe. It turned out that this was the secret of the universe's seal. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist anymore, because the prehistoric war was the end of everything. Our race will not fall silent just like this. We are all cultivators, and we will not be weaker than others. In the future, I will not live under protection. Su Yan roared to the sky. He had the ambition to swallow the rivers and mountains. This was his belief, peerless and powerful, burning with the flame of war. He wanted to be independent, and even turn into a Kuanping to crush all disasters. Chapter 1337. We'll all die here. This is the dark energy. It's already corroding my life. Darkness still existed in the void outside the realm. Although there were only energy ripples surging, once one was corroded by the darkness, one's body would rapidly wither and wither. Even immortal path experts were no exception. The three Xian people were extremely terrified. There was no way out. They were all going to die here. It was truly despairing. However, they couldn't die. They had to tell their people everything that had happened here. In the end, the two Xian people joined forces and burned all the energy to blast open a tunnel. It was much better for three to die than one. Xian Huiyu was still alive, but there was still fear in her eyes. The Xian people had gone to war. So many top experts had come, but only one patriarch, and she survived. If it weren't for the golden immortal seal blocking most of the dark energy, they wouldn't have survived. I'll be back. The Xian people's patriarch seemed to have lost his mind. He said angrily, Xianhuang universe, next time I come, there won't be any changes. Since the universe has been sealed, it means that there are no more experts in your world. He knew very well that the prehistoric Big Brother had killed his way into the disaster and probably wouldn't be able to return. His heart was bleeding from the crushing defeat. The Xian people were a peak orthodoxy in the immortal realm that had been passed down for billions of years. However, this kind of loss was extremely heavy. Moreover, if it weren't for the Realm C, they would have all been wiped out in this battle. Therefore, the Patriarch's heart was burning with fury. There are still ants who are unwilling to give up and want to fight against fate. After the final battle 1,000,000 years ago, the Xianhuang universe also changed. It's impossible for their people to produce any younger generation of geniuses. The Xian people's patriarch's eyes shone as he looked through the Xianhuang universe. He saw a young man emitting his essence, qi, and spirit. He didn't despair. He had underestimated the current Xianhuang universe. In the face of such a strong deterrent, they could still emit fighting spirit. However, this fighting spirit was so small and pitiful in his eyes. After all, any core disciple of their race could sweep through the entire Xianhuang universe. Boom! When the big crack in the void closed, the Xian people's patriarch and Xian Huiyu fled. In the mysterious yellow universe, Su Yan was keenly aware that a sinister gaze was looking at him. He clenched his fists and asked the old village chief, Senior, what should we do if they open the seal? The patriarch said seriously, Xianhuang universe. Even if they're in the immortal realm. So you can't slack. Think of ways to increase your strength. Although there was no longer the threat of the Colossus, it was not necessarily going to be peaceful in the future. The immortals have been waiting for a long time and were about to succeed. How could they be willing to continue waiting? If this day came, Su Yin would be the powerhouse who carried the mysterious yellow universe. If they dare to come, I'll kill them all. Su Yan's aura leaked out. It was stronger than Dali's. He had a peerless and invincible belief. He was not weaker than anyone in the same realm. Su Yin, I don't have much time left. There are some things I need to explain. Senior, don't tell me. Su Yan's mind was tense. He stared at the patriarch without blinking. He really didn't want to see the patriarch pass away. Ha ha ha, silly boy. The patriarch laughed. Don't worry. I won't die. Although I'm old, I haven't reached the end of my life. I won't die in peace if I don't see you rise with my own eyes. Su Yin breathed a sigh of relief. If the patriarch was alive, he would be relieved. The patriarch said, previously, I activated the Celestial Emperor's mark and received a blessing. Perhaps it's a gift from the Celestial Emperor. Su Yin was flabbergasted. It was hard for him to imagine just how great the fortune left behind by the ancient Celestial Emperor was. For the old village chief, perhaps there was hope for him to transform. Perhaps he could become even stronger. Even the million years of slumber and the release of the immortal slaying blade gave the patriarch a great harvest. If he could endure it, he would be able to go further in the future. It's just that you know my condition. The patriarch sighed. It's bad. My life is exhausted, and I don't have much time left. I have to go into seclusion immediately. It's hard to calculate the time, so I want to tell you something. Senior, please tell me. I'll do my best, Su Yin said. Our race originated from a very ancient time. We also belong to the lineage of the heavenly court. The patriarch said, a million years ago, the celestial court's army left for war and never returned. I don't know what happened. Even now, I don't know. Without a doubt, the patriarch's ancestors belonged to the celestial court. For many years, I wanted to go out and take a look. I wanted to follow the footprints of the army and find them. But I didn't have the chance. The patriarch sighed and then said, all these years, my clan has been shouldering the heavy responsibility of guarding the 9 great immortal mountains. Beneath the 9 great immortal mountains, there's a large amount of dark matter suppressed. The patriarch said, the 9 great immortal mountains can't exist forever. They have existed for too long. Sooner or later, their energy will be exhausted. If the dark matter erupts, the mysterious yellow universe will be completely destroyed. But, the patriarch said, the posterior progenitor is different. Perhaps it has something to do with the Celestial Emperor. If the universe is really crippled in the future, the posterior progenitor may become the new mysterious yellow universe. Su Yin was shocked. It turned out that the posterior progenitor was related to the Celestial Emperor. No wonder the Grand Tao of the posterior progenitor contained the supreme profound of the Origin Sutra. But what will happen in the future is really hard to say. The patriarch shook his head again and said, also, the dark matter is very complicated. Back then, they wanted to swallow the mysterious yellow universe in one go. Although the 9 great immortal mountains suppressed the dark turmoil, there are still some forces left. Inyang Road? Su Yan's heart trembled. It was really related to his speculation. Yes, but you don't have to worry. The universe's environment has returned. I used the power of the immortal mountains to erase many of their remaining forces. Not many survived. The patriarch said coldly, these dark creatures have lost a lot of their vitality. In the future, once the power of the immortal mountains is exhausted, they will resurface again. However, I have already sent people to investigate. Soon, they will find out the forces entrenched in the various major domains. East Demon? Su Yin subconsciously thought of a person. Seeing the patriarch nodding, Su Yin was speechless. In fact, he had suspected a long time ago that these dark forces had once nurtured Shuiguan. Then, it was hard to guarantee that there were no other people. It seemed that the Zhang family village and the dark forces had been fighting for countless years. The dark forces had nurtured many experts, but they didn't make any big waves. What exactly is the dark forces? Su Yan's words revealed hatred and anger. The patriarch's face was full of bitterness. He couldn't bear to see the purple-clothed woman's broken appearance. He clenched his fist and said, "I don't know." When the Celestial Court army left, the dark forces attacked and invaded the mysterious yellow universe, causing the mysterious yellow universe to decline. They are the instigators. An immortal celestial domain was reduced to a declining, small universe. Endless energy was stolen by the dark forces. What was their goal? It was too difficult to find out. Now, the prehistoric Big Brother and the Celestial Emperor's imprint had rushed into the Realm Sea. He didn't know what would happen next. Now, the Patriarch really wanted to go and take a look. Unfortunately, he didn't have the chance. He couldn't afford to lose. The Patriarch told Su Yin a lot. The Xian people were after the secrets of the mysterious yellow universe's evolution. But Su Yin was thinking, if the mysterious yellow universe was restored to the level of a great universe, would there still be hope for it to become the immortal celestial domain again? Su Yin, in the future, if you really can't take it anymore, leave. Go and take a look at the universe outside. The Patriarch suddenly said weakly, the immortal celestial domain is the most prosperous and vast cultivation world. Experts come out in large numbers. You can see some of the orthodoxies that have been passed down for hundreds of millions of years. The current mysterious yellow universe is just a pond. You can't do anything here. If you have the chance, you must go out and go to the immortal celestial domain and make a name for yourself. Su Yan's mood was complicated. He also longed to go out and take a look. He even wanted to follow the footsteps of the ancient celestial court to find the destination of the final battle. He wanted to find out about himself. Patriarch, Su Yin said. He wanted to know more about the celestial court. But he found that the Patriarch's breath was gradually blurring and soon returned to silence. Only a weak breath of life was flowing in his body. Then, Su Yin found that the Patriarch had entered a self-sealing state. Clang, clang. The 3 fragments of the Emperor weapon also fell from the sky and landed in front of Su Yin. Su Yin picked up the golden ruler. Although it was broken, it was still an Emperor weapon. But Su Yin sighed. He tried to activate the Emperor weapon, but his energy was like a stone sinking into the sea. He couldn't activate the Emperor weapon's power. Maybe the broken cauldron, or maybe the Celestial Emperor's war flag, are all Emperor weapons. But I can't use their power at all. Su Yin thought to himself, I wonder how Tensor is doing. If he can control the Emperor weapon, he might be able to use some of its power. Su Yin shook his sleeves and put away the Emperor weapon. Then, he took the Patriarch and the purple-clothed woman's corpse to the Zhang family village. Su Yin passed between the planetary domain and the star domain. Along the way, he caused a huge commotion. Is the battle over? Will they come again? The powerhouses of the universe had too many questions. They chased after Su Yan's footsteps all the way. But Su Yan's movements were too fast. No one could catch up. Zhang family village. They had made too many contributions to the universe, yet their race remained unknown. This was the virtue of their race. Su Yin really wanted to announce their achievements to the public so that everyone in the world would remember who had been protecting the universe all these years. But Su Yin gave up. The problem of darkness was still there. If the location of the Zhang family village was leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable. But Su Yan's dermic powers were vast. He used his divine will to inform the powerhouses of the Taoist temple to ask Kong Xian and the others to come. He was going to bury the temple master of the Taoist temple in the Zhang family village. Fairy Zixia. Su Yin felt sorrow in his heart. He thought of a woman who was buried in the crystalline soil of the Dao Hall. He hoped that the woman wasn't the temple master of the Taoist temple, but a carefree little fairy. There was a mistake in yesterday's chapter. The chapter that was finally released yesterday was not updated. I'm speechless.